amigos on the bait will be falling shame. Amigos on the bait will be...
Yo, chat, it is Friday once again. It's not Friday, but, you know, my since coming back from the wedding, my entire, like, life schedule has been, like, completely out of whack, okay? So as far as I am concerned, in honor of David Lynch, I am dubbing today Friday. I know it's Saturday. I'm doing this thing called lie. I'm lying on the internet. I'm gonna gaslight you about what day of the week it is. Yo, what is happening, guys? So I keep moving this around because I'll like what I'll do is I'll like stream painting to the homies in VC, and as a result of that, I move my camera around, right? Because I'm trying to give them all the angles. I'll show you what I painted recently. I just took pictures of it, but yeah, I think I'm going to be evil and gaslight people. I was watching Falgi fight with that Psy lady. And I thought that was really funny when I said to my, I'll keep that one in the bag. I'll hold that joke in the bag. Okay, I'll hold that joke in the bag. Sorry. But my thing now lately is when somebody describes something, I just put the word evil in front of it. And I'm like, evil ice cream that's bad and melts quickly. And it's like, I don't know why, I think that's really funny. Evil Saturday that makes you work with no overtime. That one's probably scares some of you guys. So the Grinch, it's just regular ice cream. No. Here, I'll show you what I was painting recently, right? That I moved everything around with. Here we go. That's one of my pictures of it. Big Oni. It's about the size of a rhino in 40K terms. In 40k terms, he is about the size of a rhino. Here's another one. So you could see the rust. All right, now I'm really pixel peeping. Now the golden demon people can complain about how bad it is. Okay. But yeah, that's I didn't really know what to do for the eyes. I kind of wanted to give it some kind of glow. So I went with a green because I didn't want it to be like too contrasty, but honestly, at this rate, I kind of don't like the green. I'm not going to go back and fix it. He's done. I'm calling this project over, but that's where I kind of I'll stop on it, right? So that's where I'm going to stop. But yeah, I've been really obsessed with the idea of just like a normal thing but put the word evil in front of it. You know? Evil hot sauce that tastes cool. That's stupid. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me, dude? I've lost my mind. Any homebrew ideas? Like a certified forklift marine? So this guy I'll definitely use as like a proxy for like a giant or something, right? Like I'll use the giant stat block in D&D and use this on a table at some point for D&D. Evil FPS Diesel who has a schedule and uploads regularly. Yeah, like those old those old memes where everything's inverted. Yeah, I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back. But yeah, I'll probably use this as like a giant proxy when I do D&D in like some Japanese inspired place. I have a whole bunch of miniatures that I printed out that are like yokai, and this is the one that I had like readily available and it's not in storage, and he's huge, so I figured I'd do that because I was going crazy painting these marines. I just didn't want to constantly keep doing marines, and it was just really boring to do a Black Templar and then be like, this Black Templar is just mid, and then do another one and you're like, this Black Templar is mid. And also I used coffee grounds as the basing material for this. And let me just tell you, that was a really bad idea. We're gonna do a video on MPT about that, but it was like a really stupid idea, and I don't recommend people do it. But yeah, I did do that, and the goal is for me to have painted all of this. No, so it's not moldy because it's primed. It's all like sealed inside paint. But as a result of that, I'm like not a fan. It's like too much. Yeah, it's too thick. You can buy coarse medium. That's literally all base paint on like a it's a video for another time, but you know, base paint, put ink in it with like coarse medium, and then boom, you got a fucking colored base. But yeah, that's what I was doing lately. I've honestly, chat, you know, it's been a really not super exciting time, you know. It's been kind of boring. You know, I don't have no good humor. The best Diesel's got is like evil mayonnaise that makes your sandwich dry. Why did that one make me laugh? Oh god. I like Batman and Robin are in the chat today, and they're just they're trauma dumping. Robin, you can tell us all about the circus, but I feel like that might put your secret identity at risk, you know. What would you say to new people trying to get into tabletop? I mean, really the thing that stops people from getting into tabletop stuff is like you need other friends who want to do it too. And then if you're the only friend who's like really gung-ho about it, now all of a sudden you got a DM, and that's like a lot of responsibility. There are ways to do it on your own, right? There's solo RPGs, but it's such a communal like thing. Like you either got to be like comfortable meeting new people, or you got to be like the leader of your friend group, you know? So there's that. I would recommend that you do it. I think it is a really fun hobby. It's a lot less expensive than Magic right now. I don't know if any of you have seen the Final Fantasy card prices. Jesus Christ. You know how fucking annoyed I am about that? I just want to buy a Commander Precon. Okay? Oh, can't buy a Commander Precon. It's $120 to buy a card pack with Cloud on the front. Stupid. Ridiculous, ridiculous. The prices of the Final Fantasy collection for Magic the Gathering are fucking insane. Sorry, I just want to complain about that. Anyway, I didn't stream yesterday. I had a meeting, and my brother didn't say I couldn't say anything. So I will say that the meeting I had yesterday is that we're like redoing the entire Mana Potion like coffee website. We're like updating it all. And so we talked to a designer yesterday, and we're going to be having it all redone, and hopefully the site will be better and just have a lot more to it. Like it's very much just one thing right now. We need to mix it up. Wow, why is that like that? I want to start streaming on Mana Potion Tabletop to just do streams about tabletop stuff. Because also the channel needs content, and two, there's not a lot of guys with as much streaming experience as me in that genre of content. But it wouldn't be like me going on Mana Potion Tabletop to talk about drama. It would just be me going on to, I don't know, probably paint or do other tabletop related streams. I'd been talking about bringing on Greg of the Op Block, because he's a big he's probably as nerdy as me. D&D drama. I will not be a drama D&D tuber. They exist. They exist. I don't want to be that guy. Because it'll make everybody hate you, and they're all like 40, so it's like I don't want to argue with other people's dads. Dude, I remember when Major Kill was like not a complete hack shill. Okay? That's a stream for another day. We might circle back around to that if somebody reminds me. Diesel's the type of guy to be drinking the paint water. I do lick my paintbrush. Okay? But Major Kill is definitely a guy I gotta circle around to sometime. It is, talk about a fall from grace. Okay. Oh yeah, r/D&D horror stories is a classic. But anyway, I should get onto the topic, okay? Here. Topic starts. Is eating paint above or below chalk on the spectrum? I know that it's like not going to kill you. Yeah, I saw that guy did a video on Mama Max and Lio Convoy, and I gotta be honest, I'm very interested. You know what? I have that. I have that video. I might circle around to that if this isn't that long of a stream. We might go and just change up topics later, because that was a really weird thumbnail to see. Not to be that guy, but I think some people should just stay in their lane, not to be a gatekeeper. But you know, this isn't D&D. I think some people should stay in their lane. I'm just saying. I'm Nightwing now anyway. That's crazy. Anyway, getting on to the topic at hand. Yeah, so basically the entire pirate software destruction cycle has continued going on. And it's gone from everybody dogging on the guy for having bad takes on Stop Killing Games to other game developers in the industry, as well as hackers and programmers looking at his code or games or other projects of work and determining whether or not he's actually good at the things he claims he's good at or not. And of course, as everybody already knew who covers the lolcow space, he's not good at any of these things. It's all like smoke and mirrors for him to look like he's a professional, right? Since that time, he's been let go from Offbrand Games, which is Ludwig's company. He says that he didn't receive a paycheck or that he made minimum wage from it, which I think is really funny because he was like a co-founder. But there's a video, and we'll get into that. There's a whole bunch of it. This first video is like a minute long, and it's somebody cracking his uncrackable DRM. For those of you that don't know or are unfamiliar with the nomenclature, DRM is digital rights management. So basically what's happening to Pirate Software is that he's created a system to keep his games from being pirated and, you know, brought into, like, so basically so that way people have to pay for it, right? It's to protect the game from being stolen and repurposed elsewhere, right? But it isn't actually completely uncrackable. Anybody who does this for a living or likes to crack software can tell you it's not uncrackable. It's just that somebody hasn't taken the time to do it yet. People do it to Denuvo. People do it to all these other games out there. It was going to happen to him, and he invoked the beast of people with too much time on their hands, and now he's reaping the rewards of that. His games, he's never finished one. So this is why I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this video? It's just him playing it like really like fast. But basically the way that Pirate's DRM works is that it checks, right? The game checks its save data against the achievements on Steam. So if you don't have it on Steam with the achievements, you basically can't play the game. Which is what Killjoy just said in the chat, but I just beat you to it.
The way that I did this is quite funny. I tried to find a way so that our game wouldn't get pirated because it'd be easy to pirate. We knew that you could break Steam DRM very quickly. This is your save file. When you first start the game up, it actually checks what achievements you have and unlocks powers based on your achievements. This is actually the save file for the character. So you can't pirate it because you can never use the achievements. It made it unpirateable, which is deeply hilarious.
I can't believe Alvin and the Chipmunks isn't finishing his video games, bro.
Really, nigga?
Oh my god, this this is like an old school. This is like an old school video. Holy shit! Okay, my friend. Please move some of the icons off the desktop. Okay, this is too much icon on desktop. Grab your Heartbound copy. Okay, download Smart Steam. Emulator. Okay. It was too quiet. Drop your game.exe here. Drag in heartbound.exe. When prompted, fill in the ID 400. Oh, that's rough. Oh, that's rough. That's brutal. That's actually just oh boy, I don't think he knows how to edit or not edit to program at all. I'm not like amazingly tech savvy, right? But it's like, of course there's a Steam emulator. I feel like that's not something I've used. I've used things that customize my Steam layout. I've used different tools with Steam that aren't necessarily Steam, and then obviously I go to like a GitHub repo and I pull that project so that way I could like use it on Steam on my desktop, or like I'll pull something from GitHub to like use it. So these niche programs like this are like really useful for like really specific use cases as a person, even as somebody who's not like a programmer by trade, right? it's like there's plenty of useful niche tools on there that help you if you're trying to be like even mildly tech savvy, right? So the fact that Pirate Software was just like this is something that I think he should have accounted for, okay? But that's cracked in a minute. Okay? It's cracked in a minute. Oh, brother. Oh, boy. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Listen, DRM on its own is already a problem, right? It's just like again, I like do stuff in the tabletop space. The idea that I could get a PDF with DRM on it is the most infuriating thing ever, which, by the way, is very frustrating when it happens. It's very rare, but when I see it happen, it is the most infuriating thing ever. And you know what? There's a program out there, not going to say what, but there's a program out there that just strips the DRM off of PDFs or files that work with books purchased from a digital retailer. You know, so it's like, it's not like these things are hard, right? They exist for other fields too that have DRM. Oh, that's bad, dude. That's bad. Anyway, let's the Coding Jesus put out a video. He is a coding YouTuber and he reviewed Thor's code. I am an art major, so, you know,
because literally anything would be better than this. What is up, guys? Coding Jesus here. Guys, today we will be doing a code review of a popular YouTuber and streamer by the name of Thor, or Pirate Software. Now, why should you care, and who the hell is Thor? Well, Thor has been the talk of the town as of recently, as he's been an extremely large streamer that has covered at any time.
Okay, we know who Thor is, yes.
Okay, now, why am I picking on Thor here in particular? Well, Thor has not only what appears to be lied about his experience, or at the very minimum, played it off as something that it's really not, but he's also misrepresented the initiative and has doubled and tripled down in that misrepresentation.
If you're going to be putting forward something that you want to start a conversation to eventually become legislation, and these are the reasons for it, not only can I not agree with the initiative, but I can't agree with you, and I won't agree with Ross. There's no way around that. I think this is gross. To sum it all up, no, I will not be supporting the initiative. Stop yelling.
You know, it's kind of outrageous because the first time that this all happened, literally nobody paid attention and Ross just got smeared and like pushed through the mud. So it is incredible that Critical saying something like pushed over this domino that changed things completely. Okay. I know Ross put out a video and then Critical did a video repeating Ross, right? But it's like Ross said something and then I didn't hear about it. Critical said what Ross said, and all of a sudden it blows up.
Cryptically wishing for the movement to fail.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that your initiative gets everything you asked for, but nothing you wanted.
I don't know why you...
I don't even... Okay, it gets everything you asked for, but nothing you wanted. You saying things in an aggressive, vague tone. Oh boy, you know when somebody like pulls out like the fucking 6-syllable words to try and sound smart, like, all right, Mr. Thesaurus, go take your shit back to phonics school. All right, like yesterday I was hanging with the homies and I used the word beseech wrong, and I'll never live it down. All right.
do that, but he decided to do so. He doesn't even have to agree with the movement. He just needs to admit that he misrepresented it. Now, other creators have reviewed this drama to no end and have gone over his employment history and timeline. But what I want to do that I guess would make this video unique...
Diesel, haven't seen you in months. Finally grabbed a stream. Yeah, you see, I suffer from this thing called no schedule-itis. By the way, work is starting soon, so I will have a regular schedule. And it'll make it easier for streams. And I will put out the schedule in the post section of this channel. So please subscribe so you get the notification.
is go over his actual code from his developer live streams and analyze whether this guy has the skills that he claims he has as a 20-year veteran and game developer working for Blizzard and other game publishers, etc.
My name is Jason Thor Hall, also known as Pirate Software Online. I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment.
I said this the first time that this drama popped off. And the first time this drama popped off, I was working on the Grums video, right? If you guys have seen my Grums video. And what is it with these guys who worked at a transcendentally important game studio, proclaiming to be experts of the field, and then, you know, trying to turn it into a grift, right? Because Grums is like, I'm the savior of vanilla WoW. I'm the one who got WoW to do blankety blank. I worked at Blizzard for years. But then, as a manager, he goes to do stuff on his own, and he can't get a single fucking thing done. And his game still isn't out yet after, what, 7 or 8 years of proclaiming, you know, like, proclaiming it's like, oh, something amazing. Thor does the same thing. I'm trying to think if there's any other guys that, like, worked at Blizzard or whatever. There's an artist. He is actually good at what he does, and he's also a decent, like, art YouTuber and teacher. Like Mark Burnett, I do believe he was a concept artist at Blizzard. And he's obviously, he draws, so the fruits of his labor are very easy to see.
Amazon Game Studios, and now I own my own studio, Pirate Software, by the same name, which is an indie studio, and I've been here for about 8 years now.
Now, why should you guys listen to me about any of this? Well, I'm a C++ developer with 5 years of experience in the quantitative trading space. I've read dozens of books.
Oh no! He's from the quantitative trading space! This guy's fucking rich as hell! God, that he works. It means he does coding and finance, right? Like the algorithms that help finance guys do shit, right? That's what like the quant stuff is. I only hear finance bros talk about like quant in like vagaries, but you know. Well, I mean, look at his kitchen setup. Listen, man, I'm sorry. If he wasn't there, I'd be like, what is this? Is this a comfort inn? You know, it's a beautifully clean kitchen, bro. You do got the air fryer though, not gonna lie, that's based
on C++ and over half a dozen books just on C++ design, from influencers in the space to...
That is a nice fridge. You do got a nice fridge, not gonna lie. I think he should get some tacky magnets and put them on there.
Professors to people that also have YouTube channels to time...
I need to start doing that in videos where I just take out books and go, I'm an expert in this.
Time-tested and trusted books. I've read a lot, and while I'm not an authority in C++, I'm pretty likely to be somebody that can suss out a bad practice if I see one. At least I hope. I also have a bunch of open source contributions in C++ on projects that I find interesting, like Monero. Now,
Monero, oh my god, this guy is so rich. Can we see your fridge? My fridge is upstairs. I can't bring you all upstairs. I recently switched out my fridge. It's a new fridge. So it's like a nice stainless steel fridge.
When I was making notes for this video, because I like to come prepared, I thought I'd need to go through dozens of different developer streams. But what I found out really quickly is that I can only find 2 developer streams that Thor actually brings up code on the screen in. And in those developer streams, he, one, does not actually do any coding. The code is just visually there on the screen. And 98% of the actual stream is him looking at his subscribers, looking at his tip.
That's outrageous, dude. You know what's one thing I never do, right? It's like one of those things that you need to kind of like work through as a YouTuber. It's 2 things, right? It's looking at your subscriber count and how many views your recent upload has, right? Because if you get really fixated on being like top 10, okay, you fucking your brain like melts out of its skull and you lose your fucking mind. It like the obsession with numbers is an intoxicating and it's a demon, okay? Don't chase that dragon, okay? You're gonna fall into darkness, all right? I know I sound like a crazy person when I say this, but I've seen it happen, okay? And it's impacted my health. And I know that it impacts other YouTubers' health. I've seen it. I've been doing this long enough, all right? I see it happen. By the way, just to clarify, with the Glup Shido drama that Fauji's in, Sai is suffering from chasing that dragon. She is losing her fucking marbles focused on her numbers, okay? Because she thinks that she's more important and more famous than she is, right? But it's I've seen so many people like that. It's honestly, stop it. All YouTubers, stop doing that.
Jar as to how much money people have sent him, and also looking at videos about games, but never actually doing any game development in a dev stream. Without further ado, let's actually take a look at some of his code. Alright, so I'm going to be linking these VODs in the description box below. I recommend people actually download these VODs before he takes them down, because honestly, if I was claiming I'm a game developer with 20 years of experience, this would be embarrassing to have online. Let's take a look at what's...
How old is Thor? Okay. Like, when 40-year-old Facebook lady mentioned. I am not getting involved in their stupid beef. I'm just saying that I think the numbers, being a numbers Andy, is very inappropriate, okay? He's in his 40s, I thought. If he's in his 40s, I don't know what kind of fucking is in the water in California, but damn. Mid to upper 30s? Because I'm just thinking, like, oh, Thor has 20 years of experience, and there's like a 12-year-old Thor walking into the offices of Blizzard.
Wrong about this, and I don't even need to be a game dev to understand that. When you look at the code here, what do you see? You see a lot of magic numbers. That's an industry term for numbers that don't have any description or explanation as to what they are or why they exist. And you also have a lot of true or false, which is not descriptive at all. When you look at any function call as another developer, you should understand what's going on without needing to read through the implementation of the actual method itself. So part type sprite, part type size, I don't need to read through that to understand what's being passed to it and what it's doing. But that's not what's going on here. I should need to ask myself, what is this number 1? What is the 0? What does it signify? Right? Imagine we have a car object, and I create the car object by passing in 96, 4, false, false. Do you have any idea about what those numbers mean? How I'm initializing that car? You don't. A step above that, a better alternative would be to specify in words what 9.
This is above my educational pay grade, I'm not gonna lie. I'm man enough to know that I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. From my understanding, Thor worked at Blizzard during the desk crawls, stolen breast milk, and Cosby sweet shit. Listen, I'm not saying he stole the breast milk. I'm just saying that he was in the room when it happened, like Alexander Hamilton.
96 means, for example, unsigned 32-bit integer horsepower equals 96. Number of doors equals 4. Is automatic equals false. Is electric equals false. And then pass that into the construction of car. That is the bare minimum. That's what I would expect out of an intern that's fresh out of school. Taking that a step further, you can implement a concept called strong typing, which is the most expressive form of instantiation. What we can do in that case is define an alias at the bare minimum or a class.
I am so not qualified. Yeah, I saw other guys in the drama space react to this video. There is no fucking way any of you people understood what was on this video. There's no fucking way. I was in game dev school for 2 years, okay? And I never understood programming. I dabble in Python as like a fun thing. And also to use like really specific tools and do specific things, right? But I can't even imagine. Who reacted to this? Who else reacted to this? I feel like Chud watched this video. There's no way he understood a single thing on here. Chud logic, yeah. Yeah, we used to, when we were doing and like learning development, we worked in Unity. But I was in game dev school when VR was like the new stuff. And so everybody was focused on trying to like solve problems related to like VR. Like we've solved all those things now, but literally at the time I was in college, all of our projects were around trying to make it so that way people didn't puke or shit, right? So one of the things I remember doing is we were working on a digital studio set to play instruments in VR. And we're like, okay, we wanted the instruments spaced out so you have to walk to them so that way you could play them. But when you would just walk in VR, you'd get motion sick, right? And also you'd need a lot of space. So we were like trying to solve it. Obviously now we have the teleport jump, but we were trying to do like we had like a Roomba that you would press on the joystick and the Roomba would like move for you. And it would also like zero in on your center of vision. So that way you didn't like puke everywhere, right? So that's what we did. And then I had another group of friends that were working on a like a connection from your brain to a VR like a bow and arrow thing, right? So that way people who were medical patients that couldn't move their body could train their brain on movements even though they couldn't move their body, right? As form as like it was like a form of like mental rehabilitation, right? So that was the stuff that we would work on because at the time that was just not, we didn't know how to do that shit, right? Which is interesting, and clearly that doesn't happen now. And if you were an idiot, so all the bad students at my game design school were put on the MMO project because we had a lot of professors who worked during the MMO boom of the early 2000s, right? And so as a result of that, if you were bad, you would be put onto that project and you would basically be working on assets for it forever.
And we can call it horsepower. And then we can create an enumeration for things like transmission or fuel.
I also know that C++ is actually really fucking confusing because it doesn't translate into like normal English as easily or something. There's a terminology for it. I don't remember the term, but I know it's there. Yes, Batman.
And then we'd alter the car's constructor and pass in that information. Horsepower 98, door number 4, transmission automatic.
Low level versus high level, thank you. All I did was work on people's thesis projects. Don't get kids. Thank you, Batman. That's right. Mega Tensai is a chatter who I was at that college with. I don't think I ever met them. But they were part of like the last group of students there. Oh my god.
Fuel, gasoline. You don't need to be a game developer to know that that's a lot more maintainable than whatever Thor has here. Another really good example of that is that
died my junior year. So you were in the class right before me then. my class. So the school is called Becker. I'll just say it, right? Because that's, I've said it before. Yeah, I was going to be a part of the last class to graduate from that school because they went bankrupt, which is insane. And I have theories as to why, right? We think all the money was embezzled. But 2 years into my, and this is real, right? 2 years into my education, I get really serious with YouTube because I'm friends with YouTubers for a long time, right? And I'm sitting on a Discord VC in my apartment. So I live downtown in central Worcester, right? So I don't know how many of you are from the New England area or Massachusetts. Worcester is famous for being a shithole and having bad traffic, right? And I was sitting on a Discord call with another YouTuber, and the YouTuber is like, you should drop out of college and do YouTube full time. Terrible decision, by the way. Okay. So I mediated with him and I said, how about I go to school back home because I could focus on YouTube videos more. Wrong, 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 wrong. Stupid decision. Stupid, dumb, idiot decision. All right. And then I went to film school, and I didn't learn anything. I miss Worcester a lot. It's a shithole. But I did survive Kelly Square. Yeah. I did survive Kelly Square. When I would walk over to the white part of Worcester, trucks would always follow me and my friends around, because I had a Mexican friend. No, he wasn't Mexican. He was South America, right? But he went by Jefe, right? We called him Jefe, but his name was Jeffrey, right? But we called him Jefe. And me and Jefe were walking to another college where another friend of mine is. Actually, a friend who got mad at me because I poo-pooed over Illuminati. And we were getting chased by a truck that had like some racist guy in it. By the way, we were both professional racists at the time, Jefe and I. Was he in the Spicy Racist Club? Yes, he was in the Spicy Racist Club.
2556. So if we jump there, okay, right here. Alarm 0, alarm 1, alarm 2. What is that? What are those alarms? Is it an alarm for person A, an alarm for whatever character, an alarm to do what? It's unexpressive. It's really spaghetti code, in my opinion. Okay, let's go to around 1 hour and 4 minutes. This is also a complete mess for a couple of reasons. First of all, Thor is using the incorrect data types. This isn't even getting to some sort of advanced design or design pattern. It's showing a complete lack of understanding how to represent information in a program. Okay? What do I mean by that? Well, look at question asked equals 0. Question asked, in my opinion, is true or false. Has this question been asked? It should be a Boolean data type. What does 0 mean? Booleans are represented as integers under the hood. So in C++, anything that...
I know I have the book about Python, and I've read the book. I know what a Boolean is. This doesn't make an immense amount of sense to me, but I understand this slightly, mildly.
Isn't 0 is true, so 1 is true. But why would you even give another developer the option to write question asked equals 42? In theory, that should be true, because anything other than 0 is true, but why even allow somebody to write code that can potentially be that confusing? It's just a no-go. Another thing here that I noticed is the absurd amount of comments. Most of the time, you don't need to write comments in your code. That's because your code should be self-documenting. But there is a 1 to 5% case rate in which you should be writing comments only if your code is extremely complex. And that's not the case here. This is a simple if statement and a simple switch statement. You don't need to add comments here.
Okay, so in non-programmer speak, as best as I'm able to translate, right? If you have a message, like if you're doing something in code, right, where it's like let's say you have a line of code that the apple is green, right? That's a really easy to understand statement where the apple is green, right? So you don't need to add a note above it to be like, this is the code that makes the apple green, right? It should be self-explanatory, right? Because a developer looking at it is already familiar with that language. They will understand it already. They don't need a note on it. If you're over-explaining the notes, you're just adding unnecessary information there, right? It should be legible and short and easy to understand, unless it is a very complicated program, of which this guy is saying it is not.
A comment for we have asked the question and question asks equals 1 is totally superfluous, a waste of time, a waste of space. I'm not sure why it was added, if not just to waste time on a dev stream, to spend more time pretending you're coding than watching videos. Okay, let's take a look at his second stream, because the rest of this stream is reviewing other games, looking at his subscription count. I don't know why he gets so horny looking at this. Watching video games, etc. You guys get the point. Storyline array number. Oh my god. Here he appears to be storing a timeline of events in a flat one-dimensional array with random numbers as the indices in order to represent said event. So literally anything would be an upgrade over what is written here. For example, what he could have done is created a nested
Can we speed him up? I got ADHD. That's crazy.
structure where all of those default values, instead of being hard-coded and written in some file, can simply be...
Okay, look. The guy owns him code-wise, right? And that's what happens. That's all that happens in this video, right? We've got it, right? And then Pirate Software responded to it. So he responded to Pirate Software.
What is up, guys? Coding Jesus here. Guys, in today's video, I want to review the top contentions that not only Pirate Software had, but a lot of his fanboys had with my video yesterday, in which I reviewed the code that he wrote for his game Heartbound. Now, while the...
Dude, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Pirate Software over these next few years. Because I think a lot of people... and look, I obviously benefit from people being parasocial towards me. And I love it when women or NBs say that they want to jump my bones. I'm a sucker for a compliment, right? But it's like... this whole thing where people are like, I'm gonna kill you because you insulted my favorite creator is always the most insane shit ever. I just can't imagine that kind of energy for anything. I don't have that anymore in my like soul to get that passionate about some person that I don't know, you know?
The video was a stunning success in terms of engagement. There was a couple of themes that kept repeating from detractors that I think are worth addressing in a separate video.
Exactly. You're all my best friends.
Into it. The first claim that I saw time and time again is that your code quality shouldn't matter if you're a solo game dev, and that code quality only somehow matters if you work in a team. Now, you'd think that if you're working on a passion project, you'd be interested in holding yourself to the highest possible standard, since you can make your own decisions, free of any corporate timeline, and not subject to demands of other employees.
I'm bi, but you're not my type, Diesel, but I do regard you highly for your intelligence and critical thinking skills. I like how you let me down easy with that, too.
You know, they say this with such confidence, as if poor code is not going to hold you back in your own development process, and you're somehow impervious to the effects of your poor decisions as long as you make those bad decisions yourself. Usually when you work with a team, you can get away with poor code because you won't need to deal with the consequences of that code as you pawn it off to somebody else and work on something totally separate. But as a solo developer, you need to deal with and contend directly with all the trade-offs that you make as you make those decisions while you code your game or your project or your whatever. In other words, every decision you make will either make life easier for you or harder for you down the line. As technically...
I'm still amazed that he managed to carve out an audience giving basic career advice to turbo needs that will never use it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was like during the pandemic, right? And I think people just were had stupid in the brain.
Debt accumulates, you bear the entire burden of that debt, which slows down development. Now, for those of you who aren't technical debt is a term that refers to the extra work you're going to need to put in down the line because you currently made a decision that was not ideal. So you are delivering something faster today, only to slow down future delivery tomorrow, the day after, the week after, the month after.
So Pirate Software actually attributes his pop-off to a YouTube Shorts glitch. Yeah, I wish that were me. Dude, I slept on Shorts, dude, for such a long time. Because I was part of that, like, I will not produce Slop people for such a long... Stupid decision, by the way. Another stupid decision. Common Diesel L.
Etc. It's kind of like a ball and chain that's tied around your leg, and...
I always felt weird how he pushed people to create games, not just art, but games. I mean, it's like you need to put in the reps to get better at something, regardless of whatever the practice is. So you're not going to make good art your first time out making a game, right? Because the things I made in college were bad. And it would still be bad because I didn't, you know, cultivate that skill. But it's always like you got to work on smaller things so you could be better at a big thing later. But I don't think he values art personally as an individual.
Every step you take forward, that ball grows and grows and grows, which decreases the velocity of your development. Now, the fact that Heartbound has taken over 8 years of development and is still in early access, despite the fact that the game took inspiration from Undertale, which took less time to make. And
yeah, I found Pirate Software through shorts as well. I don't know what, there was a point when I liked him, but it was like a good, like maybe like 4 years ago or something.
provided more content is a reflection of the fact that code quality is important, and it will stifle your development if you do not take it seriously. And it's kind of ironic.
And then also even outside of like the coding analogy here, where it's like the more technical debt, like the worse your code is, the more technical debt you're going to be burdened with. It's like let's say you work on any creative project, right? When you add things to it, you need to make sure that you're keeping up with all the clerical parts of it. Otherwise, the project will get too cumbersome and wieldy. It happens with film too. If you don't have there are people whose roles it is to keep everything nice and organized. If you don't do that, things get out of hand really quickly. It's the same thing with like writing, especially like because I am writing D&D stuff. When you write D&D stuff, you need to have a really good outline, because if you don't have an outline, things don't, like, they just flow out freely, and you end up with all these extra problems you didn't realize you had before. I am definitely realizing it now with like my D&D book that I didn't do that. I have an outline now. I did that. I know what the scope is, but I made the scope too large in advance. And as a result, I have extra work that I had to bring on because of it.
Because the same people that are trying to make excuses for poor code are the same people that actually play the game and are expecting features to be delivered. I don't care if his code's poor in the sense that it doesn't impact me directly. Yeah, I might care from a technical perspective to try to reconcile his game development experience or his game industry experience with who he claims to be and what he produces, but I'm not going to play his game. I don't care for his game. And the same people that do care for his game are the same people that say that it's okay for the game code to be slop, when in fact they're waiting on those same features that require the game code to be clean in order to develop and do so quickly.
I think one of the things that really explains what Thor's coding discipline is network security and QA, which is why his code is so DRM focused and his notes are for debugging later. Yeah, it might have been like a skill he picked up from working in QA or fiddling with like network security or something.
Now, I think that my views here can really be summarized in a dialogue that I had with Quinthio when I jumped on his stream yesterday and talked a bit more about the video. The practices that he's employed so far are practices that I'd expect from somebody that watched Khan Academy for a week, not somebody that's been working on a project for 8 years, claims to, worked at Blizzard and been around game devs, or at some certain points claimed that he's a game dev. If he just came and said, this is what I produce.
My theory that full-time content / streaming is actively harmful lifestyles further vindicated. Well, look at how much time Pirate Software has used to just fuck about on stream rather than work on his projects.
I learned game dev for 1 or 2 weeks. Khan Academy, I spent an hour or two every day. I'd say that's actually good progress. But to come and claim that you're some like authority in the space, this is the code you've produced, to me, there's a massive disconnect between what you say you're capable of based off your background and what you've produced. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I think that really comes down to the heart of this critique of that claim, and that is that Pirate Software is constantly portraying himself as this sort of expert authority on everything that's wrong about nothing, and uses all this hyperbolic language and associations when, in reality, what he's tangibly produced.
Do you think Pirate is self-taught and insecure about it? I think a lot of his skills are self-taught. I think it's just more of a normality in that industry. I think he's just insecure as a person, which is why he overcompensates. I don't even think it has to do with coding. I would not be surprised if he walks through life talking himself up to himself about normal things, let alone development, right? Like, I'm the best at this. I think I'm good at this. And it's just completely things that you're not, right?
Is below what you'd expect from a junior developer or even an intern.
People call me the Bob Ross of programming, which I think is a pretty big honor, because
That's a fucking insane thing to say. That guy is so full of himself. Oh my God.
like Bob Ross's stuff.
Here, for example, he didn't say directly, I'm Bob Ross. He said, everybody thinks I'm Bob Ross of programming. What does that mean? It's trying to paint the picture that there's a broad consensus that you are the best developer out there, and you are the go-to guy for anything related to game programming, which is his niche.
You're a hacker. Like that's where you like kind of start. An actual hacker. Like, not like I'm a hacker. No, you're an actual hacker. You won.
Like actual hacker. Yeah, my last job was hacking power plants for the federal government. I worked for the United States Department of Energy.
So dude walks with a laptop and a suit, and you lean over to, who's that guy?
Well, that's the hacker from the government.
Yeah, that's the hacker.
So I also, because the other video we're gonna watch shows that a lot of Thor's experience seems to be in social engineering. And I think that's really funny in hindsight, where it's like, he was a hacker for the government. He was just like a professional social engineer, right? Where he would basically lie to people to get them to give over information.
It's even like 3 to 4 man teams, man. So like we've got a team.
Oh, you had a fleet. You had like a team of dudes in suits holding laptops, walking into restricted areas. Okay.
When he says things like this, what he's trying to paint in your mind as a viewer is that he's some sort of Unit 8200 Mossad agent writing zero-day exploits on...
What a weird mention. Mossad mention. Dude, if you were to throw this fucking ball into, I would never see this one coming. The word Mossad and pirate software in the same sentence sounds like a fucking Cumtown sketch, okay? Oh, shit. Dude, this is something fucking Nick Mullen would say as Stavros is eating some fucking tzatziki sauce. Oh, shit.
On USBs that are snuck into Iranian nuclear facilities and that infest and shut down the entire technical operation of that nuclear power plant. When in reality, if you look at his LinkedIn and reconcile it against his skill set, what he did was social engineering. He wrote phishing emails and tried to gain access to credentials and user systems that way. And so all this really culminates in the disconnect between who Thor plays himself up to be and then what he can produce. It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that his GitHub is also totally empty. It's empty because he has nothing to show for his 20 years of experience as a veteran in the space. Now, Pirate himself also responded, and he got a bit hung up on the fact that my mouse had some variable highlighted, despite the fact that I never talked about that variable. It's actually quite funny because I refer to every variable other than the one that he referred to in his reply. But skipping over that, he makes the claim that you can't define a Boolean in GameMaker because GameMaker itself doesn't have a native Boolean type in its scripting language. In other words, it interprets reals as Booleans. Now, to reconcile the fact that he used a Boolean in his code with what he said, I decided to do what any developer would do, and that is I consulted the documentation. So if you go to data types in GameMaker, oh, look at that. You are also provided with constants, true and false, which can always be used in your code to prevent any issues, should the native Boolean type be defined later. So GML defines constants true as 1 and false as 0, and the documentation itself even recommends that you use true and false instead of reals in case...
See, but literally, calling him the Ahab of coding, he would be... Listen, he hasn't read Moby Dick, so he would be like, oh, I'm the Ahab of coding. I'm good at coding. Even though, you know, something, cautionary tale of revenge.
That association between a Boolean and a real ever gets changed to a Boolean and some other native definition of a Boolean. So in other words, if they ever replace the aliasing of bools for reals with bools for actual bools, they recommend that you use true and false. But we know he's not going to concede on this point or admit the fact that he was wrong, given his track record. So let's move on to the next claim. Another comment that I've seen is that you've never worked with GameMaker, so you must not know what you're talking about. Another equally absurd variant of this is what he's writing is not C++, or anybody who has worked with technology or more than one programming language understands that languages...
Well, when we watched the other video in this, because I saw the first part, Yandere Dev has made more progress than Pirate Software has on Heartbound.
Are just toolkits. Each toolkit is uniquely positioned to solve a given problem. Now, while there might be unique features in every toolkit, essentially, there's a lot of overlap. Okay? An integer in one language is going to be very similar to an integer in another. Every language is going to have for loops, etc., etc. So while the actual toolkit might be different, the same principles, patterns, and design decisions should apply in large part to any problem that you're trying to solve. The only difference is the tools that you use to solve that problem are going to be a little different.
On God, this game looks fun, but I'm not buying a Switch 2. And then 2, I'm not paying $80 for this.
What does that look like in practice? Take that code snippet, alarm 0 equals 0, alarm 1 equals 0, alarm 2 equals 0. You don't need to copy and paste that code every single time. I'd expect an intern or somebody learning code in Khan Academy to copy and paste. You can simply replace it all with a for loop. So what does it say about somebody that they haven't even considered to use a for loop for something as simple as this? If there's something that I regret, it's not being able to provide more substantive feedback. If you look at plenty of my other videos where I do a code review, I go into line by line the GitHub repository and break it down for my viewers, both saying what went well and what didn't go well and how can it be improved. But Thor didn't give me, or really anybody, the chance to do that with his code because all he does is share snippets and screenshots. You also shouldn't be representing an entire entity made up of health, position, maybe whether they're dead or alive, their ID, their inventory, as a number, or an index into some array. That's not how you present character models or entities in game design. And I don't even need to be a game developer to understand that. I just watch 1 or 2 videos of the Cherno, and I already know that's the case. So hopefully you guys found this video informative or interesting. I'm going to now move on to other...
As someone who owns a Switch 2, it's pretty good. I understand not spending money on it, though. Wait until the console is older and goes on sale. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I feel really good about my Steam Deck right now. I think it's just been a better time for me. Anyway, this is the video. I don't know if this guy is actually a developer because he does make slop drama content. And so I just feel like the crossover of guys who make slop drama content and guys who are game developers is pretty thin. And also he kind of, there's at one point in this video, he like nickels and dimes the technical definition of a game developer versus the colloquial definition of game developer. And I always hate when people make arguments like that. I think it's annoying when people make arguments like that, but you know, I just wanted to presuppose that. Those are my only problems with this video in particular. The Coding Jesus stuff is fine. Obviously, it's above my pay grade to understand any of that shit. And I'm not going to take the next 5 years out of my life to go learn those specific things. But yeah, I'm just pre getting that out of the way for this one because it was one of those things where I was like rolling my eyes when I watched this the first time.
Better known online as Pirate Software due to all the surrounding drama related to Stop Killing Games. This video isn't about the Stop Killing Games drama. I do support the Stop Killing Games initiative, and anyone in the EU currently watching this should go and sign up to care about game preservation. This video is going to be a review of Jason's job history, game dev industry claims, coding ability, and his Heartbound and Champion of Breakfast DRM solutions by me, a developer. I won't be touching on his hacking skills much in this video, since from what I found, all of his DEF CON wins were team efforts, and all of the stories related to hacking are just that, stories. Outside of his word, I generally can't find anything related to it. There isn't anything concrete or of substance in these stories for me to actually analyze and review. If anyone knows where he actually has hacking write-ups or knows the VODs...
Yeah, the Mr. Robot claim is like a really funny one. Mr. Robot is a very good show. I've read a little bit about the production of Mr. Robot. I do not think Thor was the inspiration for Rami Malek's character. And also, if Thor was the inspiration for Rami Malek's character, that has so many weird implications with it that I am not even going to address. I know the show's kind of old, but that's one that I won't spoil because I recommend you watch.
Where he actually does something related to hacking, let me know and I can do a separate video going through and reviewing it. Okay, with that out of the way, let's start with Jason's LinkedIn job history. So if we look at his LinkedIn, we can see his first recorded job experience is from 2002 to 2009, where he was a freelance security researcher and developer. In 2002, Jason would have been 15, and from what I found, he hasn't taken any program classes, so anything he knows at this point is largely self-taught. Another important thing is Jason actually had a job in 2004 that isn't listed here as a quality assurance intern at Blizzard.
I went to Blizzard in 2004, and like this is kind of my whole career, right? My first job I got through Nepotism, 100%. My dad worked at Blizzard for 23 years.
Yeah, I know about him cheating at the puzzle games. That came out the first time this happened.
He worked at Blizzard for 23 years, so I got a job there in 2004. I was shit. I was shit at this, and I realized I was shit.
Also, I think it's important that we talk about his dad for a second. Jason says his dad just worked at Blizzard, but that's grossly understating his dad's role in history.
I can't even, like, this is such an outrageous thing. These are like one of those things where it's like, I wonder how these things happen, right? Because this guy is like one of the founding members of Blizzard, and it always makes me think to like other... So you guys, have you seen the streamer Doug? Are we familiar with the streamer Doug chat? Right? Where he does like funny coding stuff on his streams and then he turns it into like shit for his stream. Right? Yeah. So Doug's brother is a game developer. Doug's brother made the Stanley Parable. Okay? How, like, I don't know, like, what is going on in the cosmology of the universe that you birth two sons, both of them become like critically successful in their field. Like, I don't, like, how's that happen? Like, I don't, like, that blows my mind. I don't know.
Blizzard. Jason's dad is Joey Ray Hall, and from a Reddit AMA his dad held, we can see the following. Joey Ray joined
Have you watched the Quintero interview with Coding Jesus about Thor? It's a bit long. I'm probably not going to watch that.
Silicon and Synapses in 1991. Now, you might be asking, what's Silicon and Synapses, and what does this have to do with Blizzard in his post? Well, in 1991, Blizzard didn't exist yet. Silicon and Synapses was the original company name, and 1991 was the year it was founded. Joey Ray joined Blizzard before it was Blizzard, and when he joined, there were less than 10 people in total at the company. He wasn't some random Blizzard employee. He was one of the earliest hires at the company. Over his 23 years, he did all sorts.
I wonder if Thor's dad brought his wife's breast milk to the Silicon and Synapses back in the day. Oh my god. it's interesting, you know? It's like that like generational like success is kind of crazy. No doubt Thor got lots of extra help because of his dad's experience at Blizzard. But even outside of that, Thor becoming like a famous content creator while his dad was one of the most instrumental game developers of all time is like outrageous. Okay?
Sorts of work, and it was the one that found
The generational success is what we're renaming a Nepo baby to, right? But also it's like the stuff where Thor is successful as a content creator. That's like, I mean, one, it is fabricated on a lie, but two, you just kind of have to like snap your fingers. Like you're not going to be successful at YouTube, right? Like you can grind away at this job for 1,000,000 years and not be successful.
the cinematic team, led the machinima team, the video and post-production.
He was successful. Listen, Thor might be losing subscribers, but make no qualms about it. He makes more money than you and I combined, and will continue to make more money than you and I combined. It sucks to say, but it is what it is right now.
Production team and the esports live broadcast team, plus being responsible for all the video content for every BlizzCon between 2005 to 2014. Plus, he led the team that made the famous South Park World of Warcraft episode, and
We have to find these women with super powerful breast milk that make it crazy successful babies. Nobody, a Morton Joe for some reason.
the inspiration for the He Who Has No Life character. Joey Ray was the director of cinematics at Blizzard. He wasn't some low-level employee that worked at the company. He was pretty high up in the chain. Anyways, back to Jason.
The next 5 years, I left Blizzard. I did not reapply, and I went and worked on my own. I did freelance.
I mean, Thor was basically going to be successful. He had access to thousands of dollars of educational material, and his dad worked in the field. Yeah, and just had those books around his house. Yeah, but you know, he could have been like, Dad, I want to be a guitarist. I want to play in a band. Shit.
2014. Plus, he led the team.
Got to raid some game dev offices. This is not an invitation for us to steal breast milk, chat.
That made the famous South Park World of Warcraft episode, and the inspiration for the He Who Has No Life character. Joey Ray was the director of cinematics at Blizzard. He wasn't some low-level employee that worked at the company. He was pretty high up in the chain. Anyways, back to Jason.
The next 5 years, I left Blizzard. I did not reapply, and I went and worked on my own. I did freelance. I did freelance for everything. So I actually went into Second Life, which is a 3D worlds game if you've never played it before. They have a language in it called Linden Scripting Language, and I made games in there. I learned how to do 3D modeling. I learned how to do texture work. I learned how to do scripting. I learned how to engage with people that were playing my games. I learned how to do network model stuff. I learned how to do server-related stuff. I did this for 5 whole years.
So, Jason's second
Time to work on my own game in UE5 and C++. Bite
This
me,
is
Jason.
out of spite. People are like, I'm going to make a game and I'm going to make it faster than Thor.
period of time is a huge rabbit hole, and there's like 5 or 6 different controversies surrounding his time in second.
Do you think that's what made Homelander cray cray titty milk? Well, I think if he had titty milk when he was a child, he would have grown up to be a CEO. What I'm saying is that if you drink breast milk, it'll make you successful.
Second Life. This video isn't about his controversies and allegations, so I'm going to skip over most of it. The only small parts we care about are related to coding. During his Second Life playing time, he played a
Have you guys ever seen, I know I'm like really all over the place, but have you guys ever seen, as a YouTuber, his name is Redline? Dude, I was watching Redline when he had like 5K subs, okay? And he keeps going into games like Second Life or like worlds.com and stuff like that, and like exploring it. And it's just crazy that there's these small niche communities where people are making money on stuff and you'll never see it because it's so small and niche.
Character known as Moldavia's Fig Tree, and started a company called Dark Sphere Creations. He claims he did game program with the Linden scripting language, the programming language of Second Life, and made some small games and some user-generated content for Second Life. While digging into this, I didn't find any proof he coded any games. What Dark Sphere Creations and his company was actually doing at the time was creating not safe for work adult furry avatars and selling them. Basically, his friend Wingless Emote, another Second Life player, would do the art and modeling for the furry avatars, and Jason would do some coding on top. What kind of coding he did on top of these avatars isn't exactly clear. Then they would sell the avatars, and eventually the business was making somewhere around $10,000 a month. Primarily,
Like there's an alternate universe where none of us heard about Thor, but he was like this wildly successful furry artist. Okay? Just like how Markiplier's brother is a furry artist and you'd never know. And he makes like hella money doing furry art, and you guys just probably didn't even know Markiplier had a brother.
Due to selling these avatars. There's some other controversy where it alludes to Jason
and Markiplier's brother was famous before him because of the furry stuff.
trying to do dev work on Linden Labs projects.
Like what are the chances? Like, that's insane.
And other game worlds, but I can't find any solid proof, just random posts and accusations. So in summary, there doesn't seem to be any proof he did any kind of game development or hacking during this period of time. Let's get back to Jason.
Then I came back to Blizzard in 2009.
I follow Mark's mom on Instagram. You know, Kat, if that came from anybody else, I'd be like, that's a nice innocent follow, you know?
I applied, not having his help in any way. I got the job.
Okay, the timeline here starts matching up with his LinkedIn. After his little detour with Darkspear Creations and working for himself, Jason now has an actual full-time job at Blizzard in 2009. This is his first official full-time job at Blizzard, and he is once again a quality assurance analyst. Jason claims he got into the company on his own merits this time, but I find that a bit hard to believe at face value. In 2004, he said he was terrible at his QA role, and that's why he quit. I searched to see if he studied anything IT-related in high school or in college, or during the time gap, and I found this from his subreddit. Jason did spend some time in college studying to be an entomologist with a specialization in ants. He dropped out of college without ever finishing his studies, and it doesn't seem like he ever took any IT-related courses during this time here. During that 5-year gap between 2004 and 2009, the only experience he said in the clip from earlier was his Second Life programming, and well, that wasn't exactly quality assurance, or hacking, or game development work. Plus, while applying in 2009, on his resume he would probably have had, or Blizzard itself would have had a record he worked there previously as a QA. So that would make applying a second time for a similar—
I can't believe he worked in ant science. That's like really weirdly specific. Also, doesn't it feel like he should have worked in like ferret science or something?
position easier. His dad, once again, was a pretty high person in the company, and some people might remember Jason being Joey Ray's son from before. It's not impossible he got in on his own merits, just a bit hard to believe considering he doesn't have experience with any real program languages at this point, and he doesn't have any degrees or certificates. Okay, back to his LinkedIn and his job. So he held the role for 3 years and 2 months, and once again, this was his quality assurance role. One thing Jason often does is he claims all QA are developers. First, as someone that has worked QA myself, this isn't true. I'm not saying QA aren't important, but the majority of QA generally are non-technical, and only a small portion are. And most of the places I worked at, QA generally has no coding ability and are tasked with doing manual regression testing. Basically, they get a series of test cases they need to go through, and each test case has a written out set of instructions they just follow. If something doesn't match the case steps, then a bug is filed and actual developers are tasked with addressing it. So I personally wouldn't call his 3 years at this position game development experience. And if we look at the bullet points he has on his LinkedIn, besides one line, namely the design and create an automated system, there's nothing here that even remotely implies he was coding or doing any kind of development. I'm making this point since Jason often claims he was a game developer at Blizzard for 7 years, but his first 3.5 years didn't include any developer roles. Also, to address his if QA didn't do their jobs, games wouldn't be released argument, most games have music. If a musician doesn't complete the OST, a game can't be released. Does that mean they're now developers too? Just because you say something confidently in a deep voice doesn't make it true. Moving on to his next role, we have quality assurance hacks. Here he mentions he did some forensic analysis and detected threats. Also, something I'd like to note, all of his game projects listed here were coded using primarily the C++ programming language. This is a low-level programming language. This will be important a bit later in the video.
Yeah, that's where I'd heard this, because I remember the low-level stuff from this video.
As for the role, again, I wouldn't call this game development experience. This is more related to security work than game development itself. And from the bullet points, it doesn't seem like Jason was doing much coding. His next role for 6 months was test engineer. My opinions are pretty much the same as the previous role he held. Moving on, we have the next role as security engineer for 11 months.
You know, the thing is, guys, is that you could just lie on your resume. None of these things mean anything, right? Like, I know these words are associated with specific jobs that are done, but like, let's be real. These things could be anything. Like, they could just be anything. No one said that your reference couldn't be your friend who's answering the phone at the company you used to work at, but the company is shuttered now, so there's no way to call them. Oh yes, that was the CEO at Microsoft, but...
This one is interesting. Since the bullet points here notes he managed web application security, for those that don't know what web applications are, it means he was working on websites and not games. There's no mention of programming here or what tools and languages he used. But regardless, this is without a doubt a non-game development role and doesn't have any overlap with game development. Okay, next up he moves to another security engineer role for 3 months. Again, same opinions as his last job. Now, his last role at Blizzard was a red team member. Red team is a common IT term that just means someone inside the company that attempts to hack into their systems, either digital or physical. So red hats basically try to make hacks and show how they got access. So these vulnerabilities and issues can be addressed before real hackers can abuse them. Now, while Red Hat is offensive security and hacking, it doesn't always mean you're programming like you see with those green terminals and pics. If we look at the bullet points Jason has listed, we can see he did exploiting physical access controls and social engineering operations.
I put D&D down as experience in organization and logistics. Diesel, can I use you as a professional reference for my next job? Sure, why not?
Social engineering is actually one of the most common ways hackers gain access to systems, and it doesn't have to involve any programming at all.
I think that this is the most, like, insane shit that, like, a person can like learn. Imagine going to school to learn how to do this. Yeah, I learned offensive hacking skills in college. And then it's actually that you just learned how to lie professionally.
Social engineering attacks are something like the following situation. Let's say Jason in this example is a social engineer and his target is a fellow Blizzard employee with access to the game's servers. He could call them or email them from a legitimate Blizzard phone number or email and say he needs their account credentials. Normally, you would never share live in production account credentials, even if someone from your own company. But let's say Jason manages to convince the employee to hand the credentials over. Now Jason has a way to log into the system he shouldn't have access to. This is a social engineering attack. It's not technical hack.
It's also crazy that you could just call and ask someone for a password and they'll do it. I was watching Japanaletics. You guys might notice something. I don't watch other commentary creators, but I was watching a guy. He does like stuff about Japan, and he was talking about how in Japan they have these like cards, like gift cards that are used to be like, to give them to scammers, right? And when an elderly person goes and they take those gift cards for like a virus cleanup gift card up to the front desk of like a convenience store, the employee will be like, no, you're being scammed, right? And these are apparently all across Japan to keep the elderly from being scammed out of their money. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a great idea. We should have that here. And then I realized that that's never going to happen here because we don't even remove the metadata from our altered videos of Epstein's prison. Isn't that interesting how I was able to just completely pivot from Thor to that fun little fact about Japan to Jeffrey Epstein?
Like most people think of. It's generally just being convincing enough and getting employees to hand over info or access they shouldn't be giving out. All right, with all of
it's 2025, everybody lies on their resume. Dude, you know what so I don't know if you're in the chat still, but I know Kat mentioned that he had to do one of those video interview things where you talk to yourself and answer questions on a video. And I think that's the most evil thing that has been invented. I've gotten my jobs through just like social connections because that's how it works in my industry. But I can't imagine doing a video interview with some like AI that's like going to review the footage to determine whether or not you're a trustworthy person or not or some shit. Like I will never do something like that. I refuse, okay? If that is what a corporation is doing before they hire you, having you do a video interview, I'm sorry, just don't work for them. I know that sucks and we need money, but like I refuse to do something like that.
And with all those jobs, we have 6 years and 6 months at Blizzard full-time for Jason. And if we include his time as a QA intern in 2000...
Gamers at Epstein Island be like, I was only in it for the Super Smash Bros. Tournament. I didn't know about the kid stuff. It was Target, and it was weeks after I'd already gotten a job in my industry. Wow.
We basically have his 7 years of experience at Blizzard accounted for. Judging by everything he has written here, it seems as though he's never held an actual game developer position and he's never done any game development directly. All of his roles at Blizzard were either QA, website security, or social engineering, basically his hacking. It doesn't seem like he's ever touched C++, which is the industry standard language to use when doing game development. But before I finish my thoughts on this, let's check out one more job after Blizzard. After Blizzard, Jason worked at Amazon Games for 8 months as an automation engineer. Again, he wasn't a game developer here. He also didn't include much information under his bullet points. He did documentation of vulnerabilities and did some automation work with Python. This is the first officially recorded line that actually shows he did some programming. Python is what we call a high-level language, meaning the language is designed to be easy for humans to read and understand as well as to write. Python is a wonderful language, and I'm not throwing any shade at it, but Python is not a language used to create games. Technically, yes, you can code games.
It's literally, my name is X, and this is why I should be on Big Brother, but it's Target or McDonald's. Yeah, it's literally that. Somebody just pinged me, and I don't know who or where or what. Oh, no, I'll circle back around to that. That's something private.
Python. Big drawback is it's an incredibly slow language. This is why the industry standard language for game development is C++, a low-level language that allows for incredible performance. The trade-off is it's a significantly more difficult language to work with. The reason I went through his job history so far and his programming language list is because Jason often claims he's a 20-year veteran of the game dev industry, and he was a game developer at Blizzard for 7 years. And he uses these claims to make himself seem like an authority and expert on game development and game-related topics, namely stop killing games. But from the looks of it, and in my opinion, it doesn't seem to me he's ever worked as an actual game developer within the industry, and it doesn't seem like he's ever never done much program work in the industry either. I'm not throwing shade at any of the jobs listed here so far. I'm just trying to be absolutely clear that none of this, in my opinion, as someone that has worked on game engines and done game development, none of this counts as game development experience, with a lot of his roles having absolutely nothing to do with game development itself at all. To help make this clear, here's another example to help everyone understand. It's like someone working at a hospital and doing payroll work, but because they're at a hospital, they claim to be a qualified doctor. It doesn't make any sense. Jason is making a giant leap with his "I'm a game developer for 7 years" at Blizzard claims. Anyways, let's go back.
There's still tons of phantom jobs. There's still tons. It's just not being pursued like legally here. Yeah, most of the job listings on Indeed are fake.
His LinkedIn and see what's next. Here we have that he was a cybersecurity specialist at Eagle Research Group. Based on Jason's stories, this should be when and where he was technically working for the government. There isn't a whole lot of information here, and with most of the bullet points being extremely generic. Since he claims this was government-related work, I think it's perfectly reasonable to assume he has NDAs, or he might not be able to give any specifics related to his work here.
And then when I did that, I went to the United States Department of Energy, and I hacked power plants for the federal government.
Jason makes a lot of claims being a hacker, and has told a lot of stories, but I could never find anything to back up his hacking claims. So far, the only thing I found was he did do some social engineering attacks at Blizzard. Now, some of you might know about his DEF CON stories and his Mr. Robot claims. I'll probably cover those in a separate video. The reason is all of his DEF CON wins were done in teams of 10 people, never solo. And for his other hack...
I'm sorry, dude. I know plenty of guys that look like this, but... Oh, Mr. Robot having all these pretty sexy people as hackers is just so funny to me. These are some of the most dangerous people in America. Oh my god.
Claims there's only stories to go off of. To keep this,
the guy's designing the USB that Mossad agents will take into an Iranian power plant, and they look like this.
video from being too long and off topic, I'll save his hacking claims for its own thing. Okay, his next set of experience is at his own company, also named Pirate Software. But before we touch on that, let's talk about his more recent job experience at Offbrand Games first, since that's a smaller topic to cover. Offbrand Games is a game publishing company founded by Ludwig and Jason. I'm not entirely sure if Jason is a co-founder or not. Jason claims he isn't, but most posts and Ludwig's posts talking about the company seem to imply he is. Whether or not he's a co-founder isn't too important. Jason's role at the company is director of strategy. From Jason's comments on the matter, he basically helps indie game developers negotiate contracts. Again, no direct game development work here. Also, fun fact, the very first game Offbrand Games was co-publishing was Rivals of Aether 2. A game by the developer's own words was built this time around as a more live service game. Really makes you think why you might not want Stop Killing Games to succeed. Also, don't throw any hate at Rivals of Aether 2. They actually do have an end-of-life plan to keep the game playable and alive for the community after it ends. The same goes,
which is also very good and nice to hear. And also, again, I know it was mentioned in chat earlier, but yeah, the Off-Brand Games Rivals of Aether 2 isn't being impacted by the review bombs. It was just Thor's self-published titles.
For the rest of the off-brand published games. Don't throw them any hate. Okay, we're going to take just one more detour before we get to the Pirate Software Company. Let's check out Jason's GitHub.
Which, by the way, them offering like an end-of-life plan for Rivals of Aether 2 is exactly what Ross is getting towards with Stop Killing Games. Okay, they're doing the thing that was asked already. But then for some reason, Thor's like, no, this is bad, actually. Okay, great, Thor. It's nice to know that you're going directly against a game co-published by the studio that you are a leading voice in.
There's any code for us to review there. For those of you that don't know what GitHub is, it's basically the site where developers store their code bases and development teams can work together on a code base. In Jason's case, his code bases would be tied to his games. Okay, so here's Jason's GitHub account. And he has 0 public projects on his account and 0 activity for the year of 2025. Okay, the no public repos doesn't exactly prove anything, and you don't need to have public repos, but most active developers do have something at least. Also, let me point out, GitHub does have an option of having private repos, which are code bases not viewable by users not part of the team. But GitHub also has the option to show activity on private repos on your profile without leaking any private repo data. Again, this doesn't prove anything, but it's...
You know, the thing is, Thor probably would have made more money if he just continued working in the government. You know how cushy that must have been? Holy shit. Holy shit. The benefits working for the government?
Incredibly odd to see.
Well, maybe not these days, but, you know, we used to have benefits for people that worked in the government.
A self-proclaimed developer and hacker have 0 public code on his GitHub and 0...
Not if he's a low-level tester. Well, we don't even know what he did when he worked at the government because we're just never going to be allowed to know.
Activity on his account. Let's try 2024, and there's nothing. Okay, 2023. Oh,
why is Jason doubling down so hard? He's full of shit. That's why. He just thinks very highly of himself.
Some activity, and it's bug reports. He has made 4 bug reports and some feature requests, 0 coding to review for 2023. Okay, let's try 2022. All right, I see 2 green dots. And again, it's 2 bug reports, no code to check over. All right, 2021, I'm feeling lucky, and there's nothing. Okay, 2020, he's applying to be a part of the live coders list. All right, last year to check, 2019, and his only activity is he joined January 13, 2019. Man, that was disappointing. Over 7 years of having a GitHub account, he seems to have done 0 public coding, with a grand total of 6 bug reports. Again, this doesn't prove anything too much, but most professional developers and hackers generally have something on their accounts, even if it's just super minor stuff like their settings for their favorite text editor or application. Jason could have a separate personal account where he does all his work, but the entire thing is just incredibly strange and unusual. Just about every tech YouTuber and streamer has a GitHub account with some random projects scattered around. Anyways, finally with all those positions and GitHub stuff out of the way, let's finally get to Pirate Software, the company, and Jason's actual game development start. Let's take a look at his game dev skills, his game dev execution. With all his bragging, I'm sure this is going to be an incredible story with no issues at all. All right, so his first game his studio published was a game called Champions of Breakfast. This was a game roughly built in 8 months in the Game Maker engine. This was the first game that Jason claimed had the unpiratable DRM, where basically the game's Steam achievements acted as a save file. I'll touch on all these points again.
Why did Team 4-Star talk about this? Why? Oh man, I'm really glad that the guys that are dubbing over Dragon Ball to make a comedy parody said that this video game was good. I mean, whenever I think of Team 4-Star, I think of amazing opinions on video games. Well, I guess I'm not really a champion of breakfast, says Tazon Day, the chocolate rain guy. Okay. Weird endorsements.
And in just a bit, keep them in mind while I move to his next and only other game, Heartbound. So Heartbound is the big game Pirate Software is known for, and it has a crazy development history. So according to the wiki, Heartbound's first build was October 7th, 2015. Again, this game was also made in Game Maker. It's a 2D game that's mostly story-driven with extreme similarities to Undertale, and is supposed to have 5 acts or chapters in total. A Kickstarter for the game was launched on February 20th.
Okay, so I recently looked at the Heartbound like Steam page, and I feel like the main character is like a weird self-insert. I haven't played it. I might play it if you guys are interested in me doing that. That would require me to give Thor money. I also don't really give a shit if I give Thor money, but I know people get really fucking pissy about that stuff. But I am interested to know exactly what it is. So there's that.
4th, 2017, roughly a year and a half after work originally started on it. The original goal was to have
just beat it in under 2 hours. Find out if it's woke. See, the problem is that I know I wouldn't beat it in under 2 hours because I'm streaming, okay? And I need to talk about stuff while I'm doing that, right? Because then the clock is on the second. You know what? That would actually be pretty funny if I tried to do I'd have to do it in one shot, right? I'd have to do it in one sitting to do that.
Finished and released.
I can put the speed run timer. Oh my god, never mind. This is actually a really funny idea. I think I'll do this.
By December 2017, but shortly after the launch, it was claimed the game was to be fully complete and released in early to mid 2018. A few months later, the goal was once again changed and now was targeting early access on Steam in December 2018. The game did land on Steam in December of 2018. In early access, this release contained a chapter 1 that was complete with a basically near fully done chapter 2. Gee, I hope this doesn't become a trend with delays, failed promises, and shifts in goals. Surely Jason will complete this game in a few more years, right? At the very start of January 2019, they released a patch where in the patch notes it said Animus, the name of chapter 3, was being developed, and this is where everything started truly going to hell. Now, we have a few things we should note here. This is technically the 3rd year of development if we're going off
dude, the speedrun streamer versus the derail guy.
October 2015 first build date. If we compare this to Undertale, Undertale completed development in 2 years, 7 months, with Toby Fox doing most of the development solo, with some help from Tammy Chang on art. Also, let's just take a quick look at the How Long to Beat site and see how much content Undertale has. Okay, the main story is 7 hours. With side content, it's roughly 11 hours. A completionist run is 20.5 hours. Okay, pretty good and respectable times for an indie game built in 2 years, 7 months. Heartbound, as of 2025, is still in active development. So let's think.
I could totally do it in 2 hours. I could totally do it in 2 hours. But I gotta be like locked in 100% on the stream.
Take a look at how much content time they have. All right, the main story is 2.5 hours. With side content, it's 3 hours, and a completionist run is 3.5 hours. The Pirate Software team has been working on this game for 10 years, currently more than 3 times as long as the Undertale team, and the Pirate Software team has 1 additional team member. Yeah, just think about that for a moment. Anyways, let's start diving through 2019 and Chapter 3 Animus development. For most of 2019, it seems like there was steady progress on Chapter 3 with various patches over the year, so far saying additional content was added. On October 2019, Jason tweeted that roughly 86% of Chapter 3 has now been completed. Then 2 years later, Jason tweets that Chapter 3 is now 92%.
Dude, this guy's taking his time on fucking Heartbound like fucking George R.R. Martin's taking his time on Winds of Winter, dude.
Done.
Jesus
so
Christ.
over 2 years, he made 8% progress on 1 chapter. 20 years of game dev industry experience, people, and 7 years working at Blizzard. Okay, let's rewind and go back to 2020 and see the Twitch statistics and see what was happening. Okay, the start of 2020 up till March seems like a normal stream schedule. Seems like he caught a cold on March 10th. Then after 9 days, he goes to urgent care and is diagnosed with pneumonia and gets a COVID test. Then we move to March 21st and COVID test results come back and it's negative. No COVID, just pneumonia. Wait, never mind. March 24th, Jason goes back to urgent care. Pneumonia was incorrectly diagnosed and he actually has severe bronchitis. All right, March 30th, he's still sick, but once again confirms negative for COVID. This is really important. All right, a few days later, April 10th, and his cold status is defeated and we're good to go. I know I'm being semi-joking in this section, but I generally don't wish Jason any health issues. All right, so then we move on to April 11th, 2020, and work on Heartbound has restarted. Work is continuing over the next few days. According to tweets, most of April was good, so was most of May 2020. We're still working on Heartbound at this point. Again, nearly all of the May prog is on Heartbound. Then we skip all the way over to July 2020, and work on Heartbound is still progressing. Seemed like there's some trouble during September, October, and November, with December being fine, and so is January of 2021 being fine. Then we hit February 2021, and then he tweets out he has had COVID for 9 months since the start of February of 2020. Wait, what?
Dude, the things you could just say during the COVID time period were crazy. You could just be like, I was sick for 12 years. I haven't been able to move.
Jason was only sick.
I know some people did have, like, they were pretty fucked up for a long time. I was fucked up for a pretty long fucking time.
In March, according to his own tweets at that time period. And there's work from February from earlier. And there's proof he worked during April, May, June, July, and August at the very least, judging by his Twitch stats and his Steam announcements and patches for the game. It seems the only major slowdown of streams and work was 3 months of September, October, and November. Where he lost 9 months of time and had to stop development based on his tweets, I have no idea. I mean, it's not like he's going to change his story after this, right? Oh wait, there's this old tweet from November 2020 where Jason says he was recovering for nearly 8 months and couldn't daily stream.
Dude, my ferret ate my game homework.
Work. Let's look at the Twitch stats graph again and his tweets. He couldn't work during this period, but everything he posts during this time says he was working on Heartbound, and his Twitch stats confirm it. So does Steam. I mean, Jason wouldn't lie and change his story and opinions randomly, right? Especially not his loyal viewers and Heartbound fans. Let's skim the graphs and see what else we can see. Okay, 2021, minus the months of March, April, May, and June, his streaming is extremely good and consistent, with tons of stream days going past 10 hours and some days hitting 16 hours. 2020, about the same for March, April, May, and June, and September, with the rest of the months being slightly less consistent, but still more consistent than not. Then we get to 2023, and this is incredibly consistent with the stream averages being 6 to 8 hours per day. Let's start diving back into Jason's tweets. So on June 2023, he catches COVID again. Okay, that seems to match up with his Twitch stats graph. Here there's a clear week gone. Let's see what Jason says in July.
That was a hell of a thing. That's the second time I've gotten COVID. The first time took 9 months to recover. This one took probably about, I think it was in total about 20 days. So
there's no point in time in 2020, 2021, 2022, or 2023 where he lost 9 months consecutively or stopped development for that period of time. He also in the clip claimed he got COVID twice in total. So that doesn't explain why there's 4 sections of gaps on development, since all these gaps are months apart.
Wow. There's a lady with long COVID that has to live in isolation chamber because the light and sound can trigger a seizure. She's like 1 in a million COVID cases. Me coming in with a comically large strobe light. That was evil. Evil Diesel just kills a lady. Yeah, well, that's just like Yandere Dev. You know, he got his money from Simulator, and then now he's just fucking around gooning.
And he only had COVID twice. Let's skip ahead to June 2024 and see what he says about these 4 years of development.
How long have you been working on this game? Was the coding a solo job? Yeah. Nobody else has touched the code base for Heartbound ever except for me. It's just me. I've been working on it for about 7 years, but I lost 2.5 years to COVID.
Okay, I hope at this point you realize his excuses for not working on Heartbound and his tweets are filled with complete BS. Once again, he stopped development in 2020, 3 months between September to October, where he had his first COVID period of inactivity. His second COVID was in
Blizzard presents Yandere Dev 2. What do you guys not have phones or something?
June 2023. No matter how you try to arrange this and make sense of it, the numbers don't work out. Especially since we can see his 2023, he basically had a perfect stream schedule. And if we look at 2021 and 2022, there were only 2 gaps where he seems to be affected and they're months apart. Jason basically just decided to quit working on his game sometime during 2020 and has been making random excuses since then.
He was probably, because he was making so much fucking bank streaming, he was like, fuck this shit, and he just went to do streams full time.
Why he hasn't made progress. Chapter 3 Animus, the reason we've been going through this chart started all the way back in January of 2019.
Yeah, he needs to just constantly present himself as a game developer. That's the only way it works, right? So Heartbound needs to stay exactly where it is.
If we look at the latest patch in 2025, work on Chapter 3 Animus is still going somehow. We have gone through 6 years of development so far, and Jason hasn't been able to complete 14% of Chapter 3. Seriously, what the hell? Remember, Undertale took 2 years, 7 months to finish the full entire game with 3 times as much content as what Heartbound is currently delivering in 2025. With 10
I could definitely beat this in under 2 hours. I could definitely beat this in under 2 hours. 100%. 100%. I'm gonna do a speedrun stream. It's happening.
years of development time under its belt. To put this into even more perspective, let's look at Yandere Dev, a developer notorious for having no clue what he's doing programming-wise, and spends the majority of his day responding to emails and maybe spending a few minutes each day working on his game. He makes more progress and more consistently than Jason does. Seriously.
Dude, this fucking Yandere Dev story gives me, like, PTSD. Like, no meme. Okay, I literally... It was such a... The first time I did it a year... I've said this before, but, like, the first time I did this a year ago, I finished the video, I put it out, and then Xylee... I was in a VC with Xylee, and she says to me, why haven't you put out anything else? I'm like, I just don't have it in me. And she's like, that video fucked you up, didn't it? And I'm like, yeah. And I have never been able to get consistent since. It was just fucking... I don't know. I understand why a guy like Mama Max is fucking nuts, but also he didn't, like, put in... Like, if you spend any time, like, trying to actually do the right thing, it's like 1 billion times more difficult. And also so stressful. It's so fucking stressful. But I literally... I can't anymore. Like, this story... And by the way, like, just to be clear, I made amends like 10 times over. I know there are guys that are working on videos on it, and I've provided a lot of like here's where you go look for this, here's where you go look for that. You know, trying to help them so that way they can produce good videos on Cameron. And it's like the first time I did it, it was exhausting, and then the second time it was, and I just had to like tell them, like, I've given you everything, either put out the video or just like I don't know what to tell you, but I can't, for like my mental health, keep doing it over and over and over and over and over. It's very easy to be the guy coming after it's all said and done. It's really, really stressful when you're like in it. And, you know, that's not to excuse like what happened or like any mistakes, but it's just like it was terrible. It was terrible. I don't want to complain about it, but it came up. I could obviously wax poetic, but nobody who cares about it actually cares what my feelings are. Some people who do care about it would much prefer I die. So I just whatever, you know.
I'm not joking. Here's the updated list for Yandere Dev starting in 2020. Yandere Dev has made more progress and more consistently in that year alone.
There's something
than Jason has
for
in the
you in
last
your
5.
Steam.
We just might be living in a timeline where Yandere Dev finishes his game before Jason does. And yes, I might have gone slightly crazy trying to plot 6 years of Animus development with conflicting tweets and time gaps onto Twitch stats graph.
Okay, chat, I need to open up my Steam, so please let me do that. No, see, you can't, if your commentary, you can't do that. You can't just speak your truth like that, okay? You can't talk feelings, because that's not how that works. It's just not how it works. I already know what this is, Slaw. Hold on, am I signed in on Steam on my, I'm not signed in on Steam. Whatever. I already know what this is. Everybody thanks Slaw for buying Heartbound. Oh my god. Here. Everyone say thank you. Oh my god. Wait, don't play it. Well, it was a gift, okay? Oh shit. I've heard it's a decent game. Well, it's never going to be finished. God, if I have to watch another video of a guy talk about coding, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna take a piss. Yo. Okay, so I'm not going to do a speed run today. That'll be another stream, but I will. Okay, because it was a gift. Now I can do a practice run. I could do a practice run of Heartbound, bro. Oh my god. There was a EULA when I did wash my hands. I washed my hands. Dude, what the fuck? This is so weird. Okay, just to pivot for a second here. This is the most wackadoo shit I've seen. Why is this D&D YouTuber covering Mama Max and Lio Convoy? Dude, this is such a weird crossover of a channel. What the fuck? Somebody had brought this up, which is why I'm here. Dating, messy dating drama, RPG horror stories. She rage quit D&D over the dumbest reason. All right, so it's like, you know, fucking talking about it's time to think about my future. Get a job. Get a job. What was it? There's a Lily what is this? The Lily Orchard video, right?
Hey.
Oh my god, dude, this guy can't be like older. Excuse me for presuming their gender. I don't want to accidentally do that, but some of my favorites. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of those channels. I am just very interested because this D&D YouTuber covered some of the most outrageous shit I've ever seen. What the fuck? Why?
Hey guys, we're going on a side quest. It's gonna be one of those days.
The overlap here is outrageous, by the way. I just need to clarify. Sorry, it's cutting off my head. It's bothering the shit out of me. There. I gotta be honest. I think by the 9, these things should be separate.
Guys, get ready for it. We're covering something a bit more serious today because
I can't even begin to tell you how ridiculous it is to be like, I'm a D&D YouTuber, but today we're gonna talk about men who hunt pedophiles.
let's be real. The internet can be
I'm like desperately waiting to see somebody in the comments that I know, okay?
really scary place, especially for younger people like me who had to grow up with it. Yes,
younger people like me. How old are you? How old are you? Tell me your age now.
internet is awesome in many ways. It allows me to have this job. It allows me to communicate with friends.
Oh my god, this guy is not fit for this. I can tell you already. Oh my god.
Across the world, but at the same time, when you put naive kids online, a world of information and people at their fingertips, there are some serious vulnerabilities there, especially if you're...
I'm sorry. I don't want to be that guy, but pick a lane, okay? You can't do RPG horror stories one day, and then on your RPG horror stories background channel, you want to do some of the most annoyingly complicated stories, okay?
not monitoring their every single move. Predators, people who exploit and prey upon young children, they have found a place on the internet. It gives them access to their victims, much easier access than they would ever have in real life.
I can't imagine. Right, so like, I don't know if you guys watch Crab or anything like that, but like, imagine you're sitting down and you're painting a miniature, or like you're doing some hobby stuff, like assorted with like, you know, whatever you do, right? Tabletop stuff. And you're listening to the RPG horror stories, and then there's like a Lio Convoy, Glupshido extraordinaire, which by the way, if we're talking about degrees of culpability as well as insanity, Lio Convoy is like a nobody. He's literally a nobody. Mama Max is a somebody. He just is by nature of his size. It's why the Mama Max stuff had guys like Mudahar and Keemstar and et cetera, talk about it. Okay? Nobody cares about Lio Convoy. One day that fat, furry guy will die, and nobody will remember him. Same for Mama Max, mind you, but significantly less people will care when Lio passes on.
To hide behind a screen of anonymity, and obscure online forums go unmoderated all the time. And even major websites like Twitter or Instagram, they are not exactly punished for allowing this kind of behavior on.
And then couching it in RPG. I hate... Part of me dislikes this because it's almost like a gross, perverse mixture of a thing I love and a thing I'm kind of ambivalent towards as a grown man.
Okay, let's start with Mama Max, the bigger of these fish. Mama Max started his channel as...
These fish ain't even in the same pond, kid. They're not even in the same pond, okay? They're completely different fucking creatures.
A whinging channel. Not many other ways I can describe it. His entire channel was him whinging about his life being horrible and life being terrible in general. The only thing he seemed to like were video games. And eventually, he pivoted his channel talking about video games. Mostly major
You have your
franchises like
sources
Halo,
on here? I'm very interested to see if you have
he stumbled upon a
those.
little indie darling called Kanye Quest. A sort of creepypasta, almost ARG game that many people speculated was material for a cult. It was dark.
Whose videos are these? Whose videos are these? Hold on. Mama Max commentary. And then you know what was it? Okay, who's
I'm more surprised that you aren't.
Oh my god, is this Stars? Lost Stardust Media? Okay, so it was a Stardust channel.
The only thing he seemed to like were...
Who else is here? The Rosa Call. Oh my god, classic. Classic Lio Glupshido moment. This is such a Glupshido. Glupshido bullshit. Oh my god. Let's see. The most deranged furry predator hunter. You know,
people would ever open up their homes for it.
You know what? You know what started this? You know what started the relitigating of the Lio stuff? Lanza's video. I think Lanza's video is the reason that this all picked up again. Right? This one thing, I don't mind when people cover a drama that's old. What I don't like is when you cover a drama that's old as if it is happening now. Right? Because in hindsight, you're allowed to joke and like kind of, you know, be funny about it, right? But this is all like treating it as if it is new, but it's not new. You know what I mean? Which was this one? Oh boy. Oh god. He just doesn't know. He just doesn't know. He just doesn't know, dude. He just doesn't know. It's like an innocent lamb. Like an innocent lamb walking into the den.
For video games, and eventually he pivoted his channel talking about video games, mostly major franchises like Halo, until he stumbled upon a little indie darling called Kanye Quest, a sort of creepypasta, almost ARG game that many people speculated was material for a cult. It was dark, it was creepy, and it led Mama Max to a new style. His style went from more trolly to documentary-like to darker, more edgy, something more akin to like Nexpo, who he would become friends with later down the line. His darker
I'm sorry,
was now
Cameron Gerard. I can't take this seriously.
He
I can't take this seriously. I have nothing against this kid. I don't know him. I don't know him at all. It's just absolute. There is no universe where Camden Gerard Davis, Blackula, okay, shows up on a D&D channel. Okay, that doesn't happen. It doesn't. Okay, don't stop it. Listen, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, just to be clear, in case you see this, Crispy, not to big dick it. I've been doing drama for 10 years. I have been doing it for a long time. You will make more money if you just do D&D horror stories. It is what it is. Okay, the audiences for people who want this stuff are completely different. And I know that you don't want some of the heat that exists with this stuff. I can tell you that right now. You don't know what you are associating yourself into. Don't do it. Don't do it. This isn't me gatekeeping commentary. This is me trying to save your sanity. Don't do it. You're never gonna see this, okay? But don't do it.
Stumbled upon online forums that apparently were havens for predators to prey on kids. These obscure corners of the internet, unseen by the public eye until Mama Max could expose them.
The type of person who can offer victims justice. And you can trust me. We can
play a game.
But they have no chance of winning.
Now, early on, it was a bit suspicious that he didn't really have a lot of proof of these websites' existence. Many of them were apparently deleted, but Mama Max would still make videos about them and get millions of views off of it. And frankly, the idea that there's an online forum out there where malicious individuals are luring children outside of the public eye.
I just can't. The fucking D&D shit everywhere is just absolutely sending me. All right. I obviously invoke a lot of that with a lot of my like stuff. I like D&D. I've said this for a long time. I've said this before. So like when I started doing really long video essays on FPS Diesel, I don't remember what it was. It might have been the 2 Mad story or a little bit before 2 Mad was with Illuminati. I don't remember when. It was definitely over 2 or 3 years ago. About 3 years ago, right? When my streaming career kind of first started, and nobody was watching, I had made the decision that I'm not doing drama forever. I'm going to retire, which to be, I've said this before, right? This predates the Yandere dev stuff. I am going to retire. I don't want to do commentary forever. I don't care anymore. And I don't have the energy for it. If I have children one day, I don't want them to be like, damn, dad feeds me by calling people slurs on the internet. I don't want to do that. It's not a tipster thing where I'm like, I'm leaving commentary and then still do commentary. The channel will be defunct. But I wanted to make sure that I produce like the highest quality possible before I do that, which is why the videos are so long and why there's so much, like, why they take so long, right? But it's just like I can't imagine. It's such like a, you do commentary in your 20s and then you leave. It's what it is.
I mean, it's not insane. There are.
I know he's on a redemption arc right now. He's had some epic Bo Black's owns recently. Commentary is such a weird field. You get devout haters who barely know you. Yeah, aging out. I do feel like I'm aging out. I say it all the time, but I definitely feel mad old. My heart's just not in it like it used to be. It's just the reality of it. Like I'm just not. I don't have it in me anymore. I don't have that. I don't have the love for it like I used to. Not that there's anything against the content. I don't have like, it's not like a troll's remorse thing. I like what people do. I think there's a lot of great creators in the space, but I'm just not interested in it anymore. It's not what I watch. It's not what gets me up in the morning. I like the coffee company I'm running. I want to do that. I like the tabletop channel. I want to get back to that.
There are so many ways to create a website, so many ways to keep it out of the eyes of the people. Most websites are not even accessible through surface-level search engines. So yeah, something like this is plausible. And the perpetrators deleting the evidence, yeah, that's absolutely plausible as well. So a lot of people were getting in Mama Max's corner.
You're like 27. Yeah, that's like 1 billion years in internet age, okay? I don't even... Xylee's like a lich, you know? Don't say that. Don't. Just know that I love you, Xylee, okay? I love you. I miss you. Are you gonna talk about Horus Heresy? No, I'm not like retiring tomorrow, okay? I still use this to pay the bills, all right? So I need to keep streaming, and I don't mind doing drama streams, but that's different. Drama streams are just different. It's also a lot. You seem way more passionate when you talk about your figures or D&D stuff. Yeah, I'm telling Xylee. Stop calling us old. Never gonna happen. I can't help it, all right?
His endeavors to save the kids out there. I mean, seriously, save the kids. Who doesn't want to do that? This especially got popular when one of Mama Max's videos got deleted by YouTube for bullying and harassment. Mama Max teamed up with some of his big YouTuber buddies like Some Ordinary Gamers and Nexpo to start a hashtag called PedoTube, which... But hey, it worked. It got a lot of support and got eyes on Mama Max's video.
Can't believe you just called Xylee decrepit and ancient. No. No. Oh my god. Send Xylee lots of love right now, guys. Unironically, fucking. I know Pumpkin just passed, so.
And Mama Max's content, but as the pandemic rolled around, Mama Max would be confronted with a little bit of controversy. I mean, he had seen some controversy before. His filmmaking style made people sort of doubt the veracity of many of his claims, and on top of that, it almost seemed like he wasn't taking these very serious allegations seriously. This is a theme throughout his entire channel.
If this kid keeps doing drama, I'm calling it now. If he keeps doing drama videos, he's gonna step on a landmine. This guy will step on a fucking landmine, and it'll be bad, and he 100% will crash out big style. Okay? He will crash out big style.
Not just the early period, but throughout all his videos, he had this tendency to make...
You made me rush out of bed to my computer to yell at you, by the way.
Mix his fictional filmmaking with the actual documentary style of his videos.
Or I could concede now. Cease and desist. Keep my furious hands at bay in redlessness.
He would open the video with some alternate reality film where predators have taken over the world and children serve at their whim, a dark dystopian future before pivoting into more...
I will say, creatively, that makes no fucking sense for Mama Max's weird alternate universe world building, where, like, there's, like, a... Alright, well, maybe with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. We're not so sure about that, but, like, the whole, like... the whole, like, pedophiles control the world thing and they abuse children. You know what? I'm sorry. Never mind. The Epstein stuff, I don't know. Maybe Mama Max was onto something.
Serious actual allegations. Combining the fictional and the allegedly real is just never a good idea. He'd land himself into even more controversy when one of these fictional films he was creating contained a very upsetting assault scene of a character who was apparently supposed to be a minor. And depicting that in a YouTube video, it's incredible.
Why did anyone ever think Mama Max's goofy editing style was okay? People felt that he got results, so a lot of people didn't care. But there was plenty of others who were like kind of like side-eyeing him before that, right? Because it's the old Half-Baked episode with Mama Max, and they definitely do feel sus of him then. His music was good though. It's because he just literally took the music from Hotline Miami.
Poor taste, especially for a guy like Mama Max. Come on, man. But besides all that, his biggest controversy would come from a guy called Magnetar, a much smaller YouTuber than Mama Max, who had fallen into a relationship with one of Mama Max's exes. This ex, as well as many other women, accused Mama Max of being a really creepy, weird guy behind the scenes and a generally bad boyfriend. These allegations were not, like, horribly criminal by any means, but they did paint him in a very different, uncomfortable light. And his weird filmmaking style, especially...
This is so not the tone, dude. All right, this whole backdrop and everything you got going on, man, it's just so outrageous. My camera is falling right now. Every time I bang my hand on here like a fucking gavel, it's coming down. Ugh. Now there's like a bunch of extra headroom. Dude, why do I do this to myself? I literally do this to myself all the time.
The content he was creating, it didn't exactly help his image. And Mama Max's response to Magnetar and the women's claim was to create a video where... Magnetar showing up in this D&D YouTuber's video is also outrageous. He claimed that Magnetar himself was a predator.
Hey, Magnetar's girlfriend was not Mama Max's ex, yeah. Well, listen. Guys... Are you fucking surprised?
I guess it's poetic that my abusers try to take me down with the help of a pedophile.
It's funny because the video where he exposed Magnetar's supposed wrongdoings was called Believe All Abusers.
Do you think he's watched Now Recording?
Obvious play on believe survivors, believe victims. Mama Max's message in this video was to believe victims, that he doesn't want abusers like Magnetar to take control of the narrative. But like, Max, bro, the call is coming from inside the house. You yourself have alleged victims. You're saying believe all victims. What about yours? I'm assuming they didn't count because he wasn't really addressing them much. He was only talking about the person who was giving them a platform.
I'm sorry, the fact that this video features both Max and Lio Convoy is the most wackadoo shit ever.
Magnetar would look into suing Mama Max for defamation, but unfortunately would not get the funding to do so, and the whole situation kind of petered out, with Mama Max getting away with this very baseless claim for way longer than he should have.
Oh no, welcome back, Lewis McClung. Welcome back, Lewis McClung. Oh no! No, stop. I'm literally predicting the future right now. I want you all to know that I said it here. This guy is going to fuck up major style, and somebody much meaner than me will own him epically as he calls into a Discord live stream and gets owned. I'm calling it now. It's going to happen.
Exaggerating this enough. He made a very bold claim about a fellow creator with almost zero evidence to back it up. That would be bad enough, but Mama Max's behavior would continue to worsen when he made a video calling out Charlie from Moist Critical. Yeah, this guy. You've probably seen this guy if you've been on YouTube. He's a really big commentary YouTuber, arguably the biggest. And Mama Max decided to call him out because he wasn't platforming the victims of Mama Max's latest investigation.
We talked like a month ago about like what he was working on in his investigation.
Yeah.
And then
this is gonna
apparently
go
when I had
bad.
COVID, he messaged me a couple times and I never saw it. And now he's taken that as me ghosting him and ignoring his very important mission.
Yeah, he decided the best way to get Moist Critical, Charlie, to help him out was to make a clickbaity fake call out of the guy. And Charlie from Moist Critical wasn't the only one. Mama Max name dropped a bunch of famous YouTubers, trying to imply that all of them were complicit in some kind of predator conspiracy, that they were all protecting the predators of the world by not supporting Mama Max in his crusade.
If I have to start shit with every influencer in this goddamned planet just to make anyone give even a slight so be
You know who shows up in this? Cyrus.
it. I'd rather have the whole world hate me than ever hear a child's voice being silenced again.
It was a lot. He was on this weird clickbait trip where he was just trying to bait famous YouTubers into talking about him. And now, you might be curious, hey Crispy, what is this investigation that Mama Max was leading at this point? Was he investigating some big ring? Did he have tons of evidence? Well, he was investigating a werewolf sex cult.
Spencer and the other survivors shared their stories with me.
I can't. This is outrageous, dude.
This video serves as their scream for action against their perpetrator.
But if this guy wants to report on this situation...
Yeah, I know Cyrus died. Yeah, I heard. No. Cyrus is not in commentary heaven, all right? Commentary heaven is actually hell. All right, if it exists.
Report on it first, then go around trying to make it famous. This guy was trying to prematurely get a big viral campaign going, sort of like with the YouTube pedo campaign from before, but instead of letting it happen naturally, he tried to basically force a bunch of YouTubers into it by implying that they all support predators if they don't platform him and the victim, Spencer. Now, Spencer is only one of the victims that Mama Max was working with, but she was the main one. She was the one giving all the testimony, she was the one appearing on his podcast, and his handling of Spencer is even more concerning, in my opinion, because he practically adopted her.
His handling of Spencer? Okay, all right, listen, buddy. Let's not infantilize the grown woman here, okay? Are you fucking kidding me? Really? His handling of Spencer? Spencer couldn't handle herself, all right? Max is a lot of things, but that was like...
to his home. He now has a personal relationship with the subject, and if you know anything about journalism, that creates a...
Shut up! You're a D&D YouTuber! What do you mean journalism? Stay the fuck in your lane! What are you, nuts? Oh no!
whole ton of vulnerabilities. If you know anything about protecting people who have been victims of grooming or assault, you know that this creates even more vulnerabilities. It is seriously bad practice to develop these sort of dependent relationships with victims. And Mama...
The bitch was homeless. He brought her in, and then she couldn't handle herself because she was too busy getting high. All right? Mama Max isn't taking advantage of an innocent little girl. This is a grown woman who can't fucking do anything aside from eat Taco Bell and hit her vape.
Max was doing it tenfold here by bringing her in to live in his home. Oh my god. He even...
I'm sorry, but the framing of this is absolutely ridiculous. Okay? The framing of this is ridiculous.
admitted that he was trying to build her up as a content creator in her own right for her own good, in some way trying to help with the situation. It was just a whole mess. And him trying to force a bunch of YouTubers into it, it just made it worse. A bunch of people were now looking at Mama Max's history. All the claims that he made, all the things that he claims he's done, all the inconsistencies in his stories. And now that he's under this critical eye, a lot of his narratives are falling apart.
What bothers me is your answer right there. You've been doing this.
Oh my god, Xylee shows up in this, bro. Unreal. Unreal.
For 5 years and you don't know how the process goes? How
I've
many
never
people
been
have you actually caught?
I've never been to court.
There you go.
I'm glad
You're a vigilante for views only. You're a vigilante for views only.
Dude, this is so funny. This is so funny.
Are you serious?
He claimed that one of his Mega accounts that he uses to store evidence was banned for no reason, when Mega actually banned his account for some very concerning reasons. Mama Max has not really bothered to clarify the situation beyond saying it wasn't justified, but Mega claiming that the account that he had was storing inappropriate material, it was definitely concerning for a lot of people. A lot of inconsistencies of his own narratives around his actions with predators were also
This guy is skinwalking commentary right now. I'm sorry. This is skinwalking commentary. 100% this guy watched the Lanza video and went, all right, I can make the video 50 minutes with this.
being brought up. Had he actually gotten anyone arrested? Well, that was definitely up in the air. He claimed this guy named Pablo Sunny was put in prison because of him, and while later on he would show some DM'd evidence that this was in fact the case, to be frank, with all the lies Mama Max has told up until this point, I can't even trust him when he shows evidence in DMs. I mean, if there's anything that's easy to fake, it's direct messages. I mean, come on, man.
Oh my god.
The fact is, this guy screwed up time and time again. Countless inconsistencies in everything he did, to the point where all his videos are currently believed by many people to be just straight up fiction. Self-aggrandizing superhero fiction of this guy pretending to be the savior of the children, when in fact, he's just some dude in his basement.
I don't want to some dude you, but brother.
With a deep voice modulator, pretending that he's actually doing something. He wasn't. Not really, at least.
A few minutes later, towards a text crawl at the end of the video, you can see that he puts an entire full name, pinning those serious accusations on this person who is alleged to be this cult leader.
So yeah, I mean, we all know who Camden Gerard Davis is. I honestly don't even think Camden Gerard Davis is his real name.
These were very, very serious accusations, which need to be matched with very, very serious, corroborative, ironclad evidence.
The situation would deteriorate further, and Mama Max would depart from the internet. But in 2025, he returned with a video giving his side of the story, and by his side, there was a lot of whataboutisms and a lot of excuses with not a lot of evidence. Much of his video focused on making the people who exposed him look bad. People like Some Ordinary Gamers, Nicholas DiOrio. These YouTubers...
I can't. You gotta be fucking shitting me. Oh, we could be bees, chat.
were friends of Mama Max, and they were leading the front lines in exposing all of his wrongdoings to the internet. So he went after them first. But frankly, dudes like Nicholas DiOrio apparently being dickheads behind the scenes is just, I'm gonna be real, man. That's not exactly surprising to me. I didn't like any of these guys before.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. This guy's a fucking skinwalking freak. Oh, brother. Oh my god. By the way, I've spoken to DiOrio multiple times. He's actually very fucking nice. Okay. Oh brother, this guy's walking into a fucking den of wolves. God, oh god. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to hear that one again. That was really funny.
His wrongdoings to the internet. So he went after them first. But frankly, dudes like Nicholas DiOrio apparently being dickheads behind the scenes is just, I'm gonna be real, man. That's not exactly surprising to me. I didn't like any of these guys before.
Oh yeah, why don't you sit on that fence, kid? Why don't you sit on that fucking fence? Oh yeah.
Beforehand, and Mama Max saying, well, these guys were really mean too. That doesn't absolve him of all the problems with his own content. That's
I'm sorry, but people take any confrontation as like a example of a person being a bad person is just like insane. All right.
So whataboutism is going to be seen again. Put a pin in that.
But the whataboutism is gonna fucking obliterate you like a nuclear bomb versus coughing baby, bro.
He also tried to claim that he did in fact put Pablo Sunny, that one predator, in prison through some DMs, but whether or not he stayed there and whether or not it was because of his video is still absolutely up for debate. The veracity of these actual DMs is even up for debate, like I said before, because of how many inconsistencies and problems Mama Max has had in the past. For me, Mama Max exposes how these guys only really need to screw up once. These are situations that
A drama YouTuber only needs to screw up once. Okay? It's a long road back. I can tell you that.
are incredibly complicated. They are incredibly important, and they require a lot of maturity to cover them.
You don't have that, dude. You're literally like 23.
Right. Mama Max didn't have this. He was an amateur filmmaker making dystopian fiction about...
I can't believe this kid is living in the biggest glass house I've ever seen. This is so bad, dude. Oh my god. You know, I gotta we're getting to the Lio section. I am not a Lio lore expert, okay? I'm not a Lio lore expert. I don't necessarily know anything about him other than the stuff that I consume through cultural osmosis. I know via Kristen Ark that Lio was like insanely stupid in his drama. It's not like I'm his friend or I platform him, sigh. But it's like the implication is that you have to like actively disavow and then remove him from your community. He ain't even in my community, just to be clear, right? But one of the claims that I know is like completely fictitious about Lio is that he was trying to be unfaithful to his wife by bringing in those kids into his house. Not kids, but they're like grown Arrested Development adults or whatever, right? Like Peaches or whatever the fuck her name was. And then there's like all those like cringe calls where Lio is like scolding somebody Bible style in the calls, and that's like completely ridiculous and like cartoonishly ridiculous and completely bananas. So obviously I don't approve of that either because it's fucking cringe.
Real life cases of predation, or at least he claims.
But I'm waiting to see those two things come up in his part about Lio and like see him make those claims, because that'll tell me how much he's bungled it. But again, to be clear, Mama Max could take up 50 minutes on his own. This guy doing 2 short versions of that is absolutely ridiculous. And Lio, again, is not in the same caliber or category of fucked up evil guy that Mama Max is, right? The damage that Mama Max could have inflicted to people is fucking tenfold to whatever Lio could ever possibly do. Like, the scale of difference is insane. And to put them in a comparable space at all is cartoonish.
Real life cases of predation. But that's the problem, isn't it? His lack of journalistic integrity, the low burden of proof that he held...
I'm sorry. Journalistic integrity. You make Reddit videos.
videos to, the low standards that he had, it leads to me just not being able to believe a single thing that he says. Even when he presents evidence, I still raise my eyebrow and question what I'm seeing because this guy has screwed up so many times in the past. Again, I'm not trying to say there's like malicious intent here, that he's secretly a predator himself. I've seen some people claim that, and that in itself is the same problem that I'm confronting here. The lack of evidence. We shouldn't just be claiming these things. You need to back it up with something, and he doesn't care to. This is more than just some petty YouTuber drama. You're claiming to be a predator hunter, but when your burden of proof is this low, when your journalistic skills are this shoddy, when you are developing...
Oh my god, whose video did you ape whole part and parcel, kid? All right, I'm this, you know, when Cameron did his content cop and it had like all the talking points of Nicholas Diorio, who did you watch to take all your talking points from? Because I know that's what this is.
Personal relationships with your sources, it brings everything into question. Oh, and
this guy is so fucking oh my god, this is so bad.
of, that personal relationship with Spencer would also fall apart. In his My Side of the Story video, he would admit that Spencer was exploiting him for money, that Spencer allegedly tore apart his home, that Spencer was actually a huge manipulator behind the scenes, which, yeah, who could have predicted that that sort of connection to a source might turn into a problem in the future? Whoa.
It's not his connection to Spencer that made Spencer be batshit. Spencer was always a dysfunctional loon, which is why her family had kicked her out. Okay. All right. Trying to word Spencer destroying Max's home as Max's fault. It's Max's fault for bringing her there, but Spencer decided of her own free will to eat that couch, okay?
Oh, Mama Max, who could have seen this coming? Honestly, it paints a lot of the response video in just such a comedic light, because he still doubles down that he was right to call out Moist Critical. He was right to call out all these big creators for not platforming Spencer and platforming this whole situation with the werewolf sex cult. But at the same time, he's admitting that Spencer was manipulative behind the scenes, that Spencer was a huge problem, a demon in his own home. So I'm like, bro.
Yeah, Spencer was a demon in his own home. That is like, he's got photo evidence for that. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry for that one thing specifically. That Spencer is a manipulative little shit, okay? Who manipulated a situation and Max for her own personal gain. Max is a manipulative snake who tried to use this dysfunctional weird woman to try and get an own, okay?
They knew before you. You were just too
Spencer
stupid to
ain't a what?
on, man. Mama Max has continued on his crusade attempting to expose his detractors. Most recently, he went after Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers, and now it appears he's going after Nexpo. So, but these videos have been received.
This guy's late to the party. This guy's late to the party. Oh boy. Interesting. Looks like Mama Max is planning to continue his predator hunting grift. Posted this on Patreon, a new video about him trying to shut down a predator ring. Sounds like the same crap where he sex with the child predator while posing as a child. Oh no, dude. That's great. That's not great. Not great. Not good. Not good. We're doing the same thing again. It's like poetry. It rhymes. Why am I so cunty? That's crazy. This is really good. Oh god.
With almost universally negative responses. Like, the comments are just brutal. I respect him for not turning them off, but I don't see the tide shifting for him anytime soon. Now, Mama Max is...
This guy is just like Lewis McClung. He even has like some of the same, like, boom, boom, boom. Like, the tone is the same, right?
Motivations here, I think they're actually fairly transparent. Like, the guy got pretty famous off this. He got his big break from talking about something creepy. He got a bigger break when YouTube banned one of his videos, and from there he doubled down, became a full-time predator hunter, where he got a lot of attention for a little bit. It was only when people really looked at him with a critical eye that he got exposed and his channel fell apart, but for a while there, he was famous. He was the filmmaker, the vigilante that people wanted to see. He was a hero with an audience. The next guy is even more confusing because he didn't have any of that.
He didn't have anything because he doesn't matter.
The next guy's really cringy, so I'm gonna save you by telling you about today's sponsor. Today's video...
Oh my god, dude, this
is sponsored by BootDev, an incredibly innovative and fun way to learn how to code.
That's I can't believe there's a sponsor in this, bro.
Bargain. Thank you so much to BootDev.
There is no dirt on me. Wanna know why there's no dirt on me? Because I know at the end of existence, I have to answer to a just, righteous God. And I'm
Is that somebody doing an impression of him? Or is that... No, that's somebody doing an impression.
a lot more afraid of how he's gonna respond than any furry degenerate weirdos that are angry at me and are digging for dirt. That's why they have to manufacture it.
That's him? Is this a bit, or is this like a schizophrenic rant?
Lio Convoy.
Lio Convoy? Yeah, I know the guy in the mask is him, yes.
Know who that is? You're rolling your eyes. If you have no idea who that is, don't worry.
I'm rolling my eyes, but not for the same reason you think.
I'll explain. He got his first taste of controversy when he dove into a spat between two fellow toy reviewers over the collector's edition of Jabba's sail barge from Star Wars. It's not important.
Oh my god, dude. I can't. Nobody is ever going to take this guy seriously. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? Why are you mentioning the Jabba the Hutt barge? Stop, dude.
Look, the point is that Lio Convoy was completely disconnected from this. He was only loosely connected to one member of this whole controversy, but he jumped in with reckless abandon, threatening to expose the criminal past of one of the parties of this Star Wars toy debate. What's that criminal past, you might be wondering? It must have been pretty bad if Lio Convoy needed to butt his way into this weird toy reviewer drama between two middle-aged men. Well, the criminal...
Yes, I think that this guy watched a video on Mama Max and a video on Lio Convoy, and it showed up in his algorithm. And then he was like, let me make 2 shortened versions of that. Okay? I had to stop watching when I saw Psy in the comments section of the video. That was another thing I was thinking. I was like, this guy feels like he would watch Psy.
Past is that one of the guys involved committed theft in 1998. Lio Convoy, though. Lio Convoy was taking this with deathly seriousness.
I've been sitting here the whole time trying to figure out why this guy looked familiar. Just realized I had his first not D&D related drama video about fandoms recommended it to me.
All right, he was going to destroy this guy for his criminal past and expose him as the fraud he really is to the entire toy reviewer community or something like that.
I don't know how anybody can do anything. I'm drinking and I'll say the video fucked up the Lio drama timeline. Yeah, I had a feeling. I was hoping either you or Beckett would pop up into the chat and say that. Because I'm not as well versed as you.
Danobi Ortiz, I want you to pay very close attention
I can't imagine putting Mama Max and Lio Convoy in the same video as if they were the same caliber of moron.
I'm about to say. Do not ever try to play that game with me. I don't de-escalate. I go full scorched earth. Michael is a peaceable man. I am far more comfortable with conflict. I've been hunting...
Oh, shit. I just want to say, Sai is really bent out of shape because this guy laughed at a rape joke. She cares that this guy laughed at a rape joke. Why do you care? Look at him, man. Look at him.
actual predators for years now, and I've been dealing with lying clowns like you my whole life.
We really are having one of those days, guys. Okay? I warned you at the beginning. You can see why I'm fascinated by this guy. Like, Mama Max, he's kind of boring, if I'm being honest. Like, yes, he's an
This guy.
idiot. Yes, he's a self-aggrandizing loser. Yes, he's a wannabe Batman vigilante. But he got something out of it. Like, I understand why he's doing this stuff. He was getting paid. He was getting paid big time by both AdSense and his...
Are you fucking kidding me? Lio was not making racks, bro. Are you fucking kidding me? Lio wasn't making racks. You don't know what you're talking about. Mama Max was making racks. Okay? Mama Max was making racks. Lio Convoy was not making racks. All right?
massive Patreon. But Lio Convoy doesn't have any of those things. He doesn't have those motivations. He wasn't getting famous. He wasn't getting rich. He wasn't getting...
Oh, he just worded it weird. He was talking about Max. Okay.
Anything but a self-aggrandizing narrative about how he's a hero. Because, yes, this is not the first... Because, yes, this is the first time he really dove into a controversy, but it would not be the last. Lio Convoy would do this.
I unsubscribe from this channel. I want D&D and YouTube drama to be separated when the two don't have anything to do with each other. Yeah. Yeah. That's really my point with, like, Mana Potion Tabletop. I don't really want it to be, like, FPS Diesel's toy channel. Like, I don't want that.
Again, he randomly brought up that he had hunted predators before, and I guess...
Why the fuck does Sai even care about Lio? God, short version. Steel manning Sai's position as best as I can. Sai... and also, to be clear, I didn't know who Sai was until this whole beef with Fauci started, and then I needed to get, like, the TLDW on it. But Sai was late to the party on who Lio was, and personally, I have a feeling that Sai is probably a closet misandrist, or maybe not that closeted, and takes personal umbrage with Lio Convoy as a person and doesn't like that commentary isn't beating him over the head because of these things. And to be honest, Chris did, Beckett did, everybody did. Everybody beat Lio over the head with this. There's no point in relitigating it, which is really the big thing. But yeah, I'm trying to like explain her position, but it's very nonsensical. Old Lio has a lot of similarities with Sai. She's projecting onto him to draw attention away from herself. She got into drama with Lio as she was being called out for saying the N-word. Yeah, so another thing is that like Sai says that she wasn't courting drama commentary, but that's baloney. It's very clear that she was. But yeah, she has personal problems with the things that Lio had said in the past, and so she's relitigating a bunch of those things. And then Lio clapped back by showing, some stuff, and so there was like the N-word thing. And then it just turned into blood sports from there. Basically because guys like Falgi and Beckett didn't say, Lio Convoy, we hate you and we're kicking you out of our Discord servers. Sai takes that as them approving of Lio. You being in a public Discord server is not me approving of your existence. I'll ban you if you're annoying, but yeah, basically it's literally because Lio wasn't removed from a Discord server. Like, that's the best way I can describe it, right? That's really what it is, right? They didn't put down their foot at Lio. They couldn't just say, we hate you, Lio Convoy. They needed to say, we hate you, Lio Convoy. Now get out of our Discord server. You see that she's advocating for Falgi and the crew to get doxxed? Yeah, I know. I know. But yeah, Falgi and the rest of the ops put their foot down and locked down the drama thread on Sai. So that way it didn't turn into people basically bullying Sai for no reason. Apparently now her and Malcolm are going after him for new allegations. I'll wait till one of the lore experts weighs in on it. Okay, that's my opinion on it. You're not mentioning the Falgi love kamikazes, so you're sweeping. Oh yeah, where he was like love bombing or whatever. I'd hate to not to mock Falgi, because I've given him a lot of support. But he is such a wordy motherfucker. He is such a wordy motherfucker. But if I am to bear it down into its simplest, and it might be uncharitable of me to say this, it might be uncharitable of me to say this, but I think a lot of Sai's prejudices cloud how Sai talks with and analyzes things. And I think those prejudices are what is part of causing her current crash out. Okay. But also, to be frank, I really like, outside of mocking Lio, I mean, why even bother kicking him from the server unless he's breaking the rules? It's a Discord server. It's not like an endorsement of his behavior. You're not like being like, Lio Convoy, my best friend. I don't know Lio, and I don't particularly like him. I think he's kind of cringe how he doesn't like it when I make fun of I made fun of that brony guy for like holding his father's ashes and swearing to him, and Lio said that was mean, and I don't care. So I don't particularly like Lio, but because my stance on Lio isn't super, because I'm not passionate about it, that's me endorsing it. That's how it reads to me. Yeah, I know, she's mad old. I don't know why she's acting like this at her age. Yeah, it's she doesn't, care about the standards when she feels she can get something for it. My own issue with Psy, and my only issue with it, and it's barely an issue. I don't really care what Psy does. I don't have any problem. If this is Psy's cross that she wishes to bear, go right ahead. But the only thing I have a problem with is like the big dick I have a lot of subscribers shit. It's ridiculous. It's very ridiculous. I've gotten a lot of undue respect from other creators because of my size. I think that's very ridiculous. Yeah. My favorite part about the Brony Ashes is that he sweared on his dad that he would not get into drama. Then he got into drama like less than a week later. Yeah, I know. It's funny. It's funny. It's funny to swear on somebody's ashes as you hold them and post it to youtube.com. That's crazy. Sorry, Lio. Sorry, I'm too based. I'm too based. They wouldn't let me into the Thundercats with that kind of behavior. Lio's like, Lio's like, Diesel should build a master grade. Lio, I have a job. I need to do things, okay? I can't build a master grade. Okay, I want to build a high grade because I have the time to do that.
He really wanted to do it again because on his YouTube channel, he would pivot into talking about predators, specifically in communities like furries, for example. Very, very small niche online communities, many of them isolated to Discord servers. Oh,
yeah, that was from the April Fool's video that Lio made on me, yes. He couldn't just make a joke about me. He had to like try and woke scold me through it as well.
Remember the whole adopting victims thing? Well,
that's the only reason this guy said that shit about Mama Max is so that way he could have the layup with Lio Convoy. Okay? This guy like misrepresented something about Mama Max so that way he could go and do the same thing with Lio Convoy. Like I can't believe this guy. This is like fucking like grade school bullshit this guy's doing right here.
Like, yes, he would be adopting alleged groomer victims to live in his house, just like Mama Max. And this time, guys.
Oh, fuck off.
This time, I'm sure that it's going to end swimmingly. I mean, Lio Convoy is married, which means...
Does this guy even know what the ACC is? I don't think he's ready for that.
He's definitely mature enough to handle this, right? One of the people he adopted into his found family was a person by the name of Hopeless Peaches.
Oh my god, brother. Oh my god. Yeah, oh, by the way, I don't care if you guys watch Psy either. It's just like my interpretation of it. I definitely feel, listen, I know I'm dark woke. I support gay and trans rights and I say slurs. Whamp whamp whamp. I think Psy is light skin based. I think if I pressed Psy, and this isn't an invitation to debate because I don't want to and I don't care. I think if I pressed Psy on Psy's beliefs on genderqueer people, asexual people, or many other of the LGBTQ, I think we would find that Psy would pretend that she doesn't have a problem with them.
And if you're into YouTube T stuff, then that just gave you PTSD. Hopeless Peaches is a creator that came under a ton of fire by Creepshow Art, who is a member of...
Oh my god. Don't you try and tell me what happened. I was there when the chronicles were written.
The Art CC, the art commentary community. Hopeless Peaches was also a part of this. This is a community of artists with tons of drama around them, tons of drama that I just don't have time to get into. These guys are constantly catfighting.
This is why you need like a dedicated lore master, okay? This is why you need like a Kristen arc to rat bash your way through it, dude.
Every freaking turn. It's like a war zone out there in the art commentary community, and Lio Convoy would become a part of it after Hopeless Peaches had her own cancellation. The art commentary community would be fairly isolated for a very long time, but blew up into the wider internet because she was revealed to be a freaking stalker. She's not really relevant here, besides the fact that her absence left a big, I don't want to say power vacuum, that sounds a bit too dramatic, but a big hole that Lio Convoy's community, the Senate...
Yeah, and again, it's like, I don't... If Psy wants to do this, that's her shtick. I'm not really gonna stop her. I don't like her vibe, and that's like whatever. It's I don't want you guys to like make a decision based on something I say. It's just like my hot takes. right? I'm sure Sai would take a lot of umbrage with everything I'm saying here, but it's just like, you know, she can do her thing, I'll do my thing. I'm not particularly interested in getting like into a creator back and forth. I had to resist the urge to quote tweet her today and be like, oh, it's not really worth it to get into this drama. I don't really care. I don't care now. This video is about Lio, right? I only brought it up because somebody else brought it up in chat.
Partially fill. With Hopeless Peaches gone, the Senate would become a place where a lot of art commentary community creators convened, including Hopeless Peaches. I will remind you, his e-girl adopted found family daughter person. Awesome. The Senate is a Discord server where Lio Convoy would
Oh my god, dude, this is crazy.
work with his fellow creators and team members to take down predators. Because at this point, yes, Lio has completely shifted his content. He is gun-ho for hunting down these predators in online, especially Discord communities. He would bring the Discord moderators justice to these creeps. And his method of doing that was often to drag them into Senate so that he and a bunch of other people could scream at them in the Discord server. Overall, these online calls with Lio Convoy would be very controversial in many different ways. A lot of them have been archived, and many of them are extremely difficult to listen to, not only because Lio Convoy is a very cringe person. I mean, come on, do you remember this? I mean, good God.
I'd be shocked if this guy knows about the FCK. No, he probably doesn't. Dude, it's kind of crazy that I can have this kind of conversation with chat and like people who don't follow are like, what does that even mean? That doesn't mean anything to me.
This image hasn't left my mind all week, but also because he's kind of an ass. For starters, he had a tendency to really love bullying children. I mean, he's part of the art commentary community. This is a community filled with a lot of young people, and some...
Okay, like, not to be that guy, but like, somebody being an ass, who gives a shit? I think Lio's a fucking weirdo for yelling at children, okay? But like... This guy is the kind of guy who I sit here and I criticize this video. He would literally like be fucking fuming at what I have to say. Let me change the title of this stream, okay? Hold on, I need to update. I need to update that that thumbnail. I think I got one in here somewhere. Did I do one of Lio Convoy? Lio might have been like a side character in a bunch of streams that I've done, but like not the main guy. There we go.
Sometimes teenagers are dicks. I know. Who could have foreseen this? It's a plot twist no one could have seen coming. But Lio Convoy would respond to that in a very mature fashion.
I actually have guns.
I'm not worried about some dumb 15-year-old making threats about firearms.
Update title. Hopeless Lio has 0 peaches in his convoy. She Lio on my convoy till I peaches. She sigh on my scribbles till I wait, what size is the YouTube name? I don't remember. She west on my side till I Tyler. Oh boy.
I want to ruin your life. I'll just call your school and tell them you made the threat and you won't get anywhere in life. You want to play this game? We can play that game.
Oh, damn. Wow, you're threatening to ruin a 15-year-old's life.
Hold on.
Hey, how's your mom's basement, man?
That's right. Lio Convoy, a 4-year-old man being bullied by teenagers, would respond with, "I'm telling your mom."
Who is this guy? He's a D&D tuber, and for some reason he's doing drama now. She west on my side till I... Okay, I'm not saying that one. I'm not disavow.
40-year-old man. 40.
He's not 40.
Good lord, man. Lio Convoy would get in a lot of trouble for this because, I mean, come on, he's basically doxing teenagers online by calling their parents. He would even threaten to call their schools, and it got into territory that was very uncomfortable. I get it, kids are annoying, but responding to annoying kids by doxing them cannot be the proper response of a fully grown adult. I mean, come on, just kick them out of the Discord server. It should not be that big of a deal. But no, Lio needed to win the argument over these freaking teenagers. Great. The guy who was pretending to...
Welcome to the internet, where a 12-year-old says something and then they end up in an argument with a 40-year-old, okay?
Protect kids from predators, was at the same time doxing and bullying kids in his Discord server. And it gets worse than this. One
Stay in your lane, yeah.
victim he was working with, he would...
Oh god, please, I don't wanna say Voldemort's name too much. He might talk about Dogwarts again.
them.
I am 100% done with it. I have been as patient as humanly possible with literally everyone concerning all their nonsense, and you are sitting here right now wearing...
What do you guys think was in the Lio Convoy chalice? Was it Dr. Pepper? I feel like he's a Dr. Pepper guy. Lio, I would like to buy that chalice from you since I can't get the Yandere Dev chalice.
Bring that 100% thin. Start talking. You can talk to a person who wants to dick down little girls. You better start talking to me.
Yeah, in a call that, again, is very...
Is Lio Convoy a Pepsi or a Coke guy? I will turn this into a drama.
Very difficult to listen to. He would threaten this person openly. He would be condescending to them, mock them, and at worst, he threatened to out them to their father. And obviously, that can be extremely damaging for any transgender individual. He would also drag another YouTuber, and this is not the worst that Lio Convoy got, but it is some of the most embarrassing.
I am so interested to find out who this YouTuber is.
This YouTuber, Leo Vert, has a Discord server of his own, and in that server, some people dare to speculate that Lio Convoy...
I'm sorry, this is... Why? Who?
Relationship with his weird e-girl adopted family was kind of strange. Wow. And I'm not gonna say that none of the speculation went too far. I'm sure some people were theorizing that Lio Convoy was a predator himself, which, look, there's no evidence to back that up beyond the vibe.
Can I get a lore dump, chat? What?
This is not the worst that Lio Convoy got, but it is some of the most embarrassing. This YouTuber, Leo Vert, has a Discord server of his own, and in that server, some people dared to speculate that Lio Convoy's relationship with his weird e-girl adopted family was kind of strange. Wow. And I'm not gonna say that none of the speculation went too far. I'm sure some people were theorizing that Lio Convoy was a predator himself, which, look, there's no evidence to back that up beyond the vibe. And frankly, like I said during the...
So, you feel based on vibes that Lio's a predator? That's absolutely fucking crazy, dude. What?
Mama Max bit, that's not enough. You need actual burden of proof. But if people want to speculate that Lio Convoy is a weirdo, they're allowed to do that. But this guy, he would not have it. He would drag...
What if I speculate that you're a weirdo, huh? What if I do that? I would not be so presumptive, young man.
This YouTuber into a Discord call with him and Hopeless Peaches, where the both of them would bully him. Not bully him for spreading speculation of his own, but bully him for being in a Discord server where that speculation was happening. And the voice that Lio Convoy uses, it's... Just listen.
Because these are people I have taken in to take care of. I have never and never will do.
He's talking about my drama with Lio. He pronounced my name so wrong. Wait, you're the guy? You're the guy? Wait, you're in my chat all the time. Oh god, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So as Lio's victim in this situation, you tell me how this guy did.
Anything sexual with. These people have been abuse victims of that type of degenerate garbage. And you know that because I've told you that. And on top of that, I have told you before, you've got an issue with me, pick it up with me.
Why does he sound like Shadow the Hedgehog Incel Edition? This is just... He wants to be an anime villain so bad. He's trying so hard to be intimidating, and the secondhand embarrassment I get from listening to him, I mean, oh my god. Look, I receive a lot of death threats over this show here, but y'all...
There's no way. There's no way. There's no way.
Can't do that anymore. I think the job is done because Lio Convoy's voice, it might just kill me in the editing process of making this video. Good lord, guys, I'm dying here. I wish that's where I could end it, but dude, the worst of it is the Rosa call.
What the fuck prompted all this bullshit?
What prompted this is Rosa not taking it seriously when we have one of the victims of this predator in here telling them exactly what they did.
This guy's like speeding through Lio's stuff and I don't even... Like, it's kind of hard to keep track of it because it's so, like, verbose and all done in private.
Constantly making excuses for why what they did was fine, essentially, telling us that having a couple mean tweets thrown your way is equal to that of being preyed on as a child by a predator because they're equally bad. going on tangents like that, never taking any accountability for what they're doing or what they are saying, and never being able to answer directly any questions they are being asked.
So accountability for having bad opinions that you disagree with.
What Lio Convoy would do was taking things just a tad too far. He dragged this woman into a Discord call with dozens of people, and all of them just took turns berating her, screaming at her, and bullying her. Like, bullying is a word that's used just so commonly that I feel like it loses its meaning, but just... This call is incredibly...
My favorite part about drama on YouTube is that nobody ever leaves the fucking call. That's not a support of Lio. It's just like one of those like weird things that always happens. Like, it's like people are like trapped in it. It's like somebody glued their hands to the desk.
Difficult to listen to.
Well, never mind. Let's move on. No. If you have something to say, say it. We're all here to listen for a reason, so just say it.
This isn't helping me get through this. I will help you right now. You're not here to be helped, dickhead. There you go. There's your help for this call. So no fucking wonder this bitch fucking hates you. No wonder she wants to destroy your fucking life, because you're a piece of garbage.
Oh my god.
On the internet because Mongo has an axe to grind with us because we told her the truth about her life and she couldn't handle it.
Behind the scenes, I do want to also clarify that Rosa allegedly is a person with severe mental health issues, physical disabilities as well. She's cared for by her mother, who has to be a full-time caretaker.
Yeah, where'd Lago go? He kind of just like passed over that whole thing where it's like Lio just ripped this guy a new one and then move on.
Now,
Did I link this to you? It was in the private the private VC.
Absolve Rosa from any possible wrongdoing. I'm
Pretty sure Lio has the tism. I think so. Crane, you know your new PFP stands out like a fucking lighthouse in the ocean to me, by the way.
trying to say she's some perfect individual. For all I know, she's done some terrible things. But frankly, I don't know if she's done some terrible things because Lio Convoy and his fellows don't bother to present any sort of evidence. They just drag this woman, who is a moderator in a Discord server that apparently, allegedly, has a predator in it. They drag this person into the call with no proof that she's actually done anything wrong and just bully her. And it's abundantly clear that she is not mentally fit to handle this. You are bullying a person with severe mental health issues for what? The lols? It's clear not for any justice. You don't have any proof she's done anything wrong.
Call with Lio was cringe, but I don't think I was bullied, Lamau. Well, this guy feels that you were a victim, okay? And I think that you should really give away your agency as an individual. So that way, the guy who does D&D horror stories can get like an epic own over 50,000 subscriber Glupshido YouTuber.
It's disgusting. This call was the straw that broke the camel's back for Senate. I mean, Senate had a bunch of controversies. They were all building up. People were making tons of videos about Senate being terrible. A lot of people who were in the server were making videos about it being terrible because, I mean, all those art CC people coming in, all those people from that commentary community who were...
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's... he's not, like, he didn't, like, research any of it. What happened is that this guy watched the Lanza video and then just fucking sprinted off to go make his.
Being invited into the Discord server, a lot of people had no idea how bad it was from the outside. These are YouTubers with much larger audiences than Lio Convoy who are watching these more obscure creators bully people with no audience with
No. People knew how bad it was, okay? There's like a whole cottage industry of mocking the ACC.
With much larger audiences than Lio Convoy who are watching these more obscure creators bully people with no audience with reckless abandon, and obviously that made a lot of them uncomfortable, and therefore they confronted it on their YouTube channels, which led to Lio Convoy having a lot more...
Why did he make this? I don't know. I would love to know.
But in my opinion, the most important video made about Lio Convoy was a video where he was forced to confront an actual lawyer. I've been covering a lot of his Discord shenanigans, but I haven't really been covering how he actually tries to catch predators. I mean, seemingly...
I'm sorry, I'm relying on chat a lot here, but it's because I literally, like, missed all the Lio Convoy stuff. And it's also not been my, like, shtick. Okay? So... I would love to know, like... What is, like, is that even true? Like, it sounds like a cartoonish, like, aside. Yeah, I miss, like, all of the Discord stuff.
His only real reason for being in this community is to bully children.
He made a pro Jared video that was supposed to be a new things regarding pro Jared, but what he really, it was just an excuse to make a pro Jared relitigation. Oh shit. Wow, really? Oh god. You know what? Close enough. Welcome back, Lewis McClung.
Not save them. So what's it look like when he actually tries to save kids? This call, where he tries to explain himself to a lawyer, exposes that, like Mama Max before him, he also has no idea what the hell he's talking about.
Why do you keep calling these investigations if you just admitted you don't run them like investigations?
Because that's the word that people tend to use, so I'm using a word they're familiar with.
I mean, you could say Scooby-Doo investigation, and that would be a little bit more apropos, but you just stated that you haven't done any training. I don't know what you just said. I was just speaking.
There are a bunch of problems in this call. The lawyer reads him for filth. And frankly, if you are tired of hearing Lio Convoy's self-aggrandizing nonsense, hearing him get put down by this woman, oh, it was glorious, okay? Let me tell you. I don't even know.
Who was that woman in the call?
She's an actual lawyer. For all I know, she's lying about her credentials.
She literally could just be some random glump shitter. Why would you even say that? Why would you present it as evidence and then go back and go, well, I don't know if it's true or not? You should kind of lead with the, we don't really know who it is, or just not even mention that they're a lawyer to begin with.
But even if she's not, good lord, it was glorious to see this man finally get put down by somebody his own age who knows how to articulate better than a literal child. Good stuff. But anyway, let's call from me.
Literally some random paralegal that forced themselves into Stardust is called. Not kidding. Okay.
There are three major highlights. For starters, Lio Convoy has no idea how to even report crimes. Like, seriously, he was calling in to local police offices to report these alleged crimes.
No, they have no obligation to report it to their superiors, which is the federal government. You're kidding me.
No, they don't. And federal government isn't their superiors, especially if it's a state police. What are you talking about? You also know this.
Then who's their superior then?
Like in a state? I'm confused. Are you kidding me, or are you being serious right now?
So Lio Convoy expecting that he's going to call his local state police and go, I think that there are some predators in a Discord server based on a fan animation of an Undertale cartoon. Yeah, they're not going to do anything about that. And side note, if you think, Crispy, are you just making up that random example for the lulz? I wish I was.
I do believe that you called the Glitchtail server a pedo ring, did you not?
He also has no idea of any resources to actually help victims.
Who? It's shit like this. That's why I can't do drama anymore. Because I'm like, Glitchtail, Undertale, Deltarune, Digital Circus. Who is Digital Circus Pomni? Pomni Susie Chris, Ralsei Asgore, Sans, Five Nights Freddy's Fazbear, Dice Server Birdie, Friday Night Funkin' Boyfriend.
He was completely surprised to hear of organizations like RAIN who have chapters across the United States and do a lot of work with victims to make sure they get out of bad situations with their abusers. He had no idea this organization even exists. For a guy who claims to be a predator hunter, he has no idea about one of the biggest organizations that helps protect people against predators. Really?
Wait, I just spaced out for a second.
Called the Glitchtail server a pedo ring, did you not?
He also has no idea of any resources to actually help victims. He was completely surprised to hear of organizations like RAIN who have chapters.
Okay, by the way, if you report something to RAIN, you're just like sending it to like a non-for-profit. Report it to the feds or the police local to that place. Okay? People use RAIN as like a you didn't know thing. But RAIN is not the most important. RAIN is not the most important. People say RAIN because they don't know any better, okay? That's like a sign of I actually don't know.
Across the United States and do a lot of work with victims to make sure they get out of bad situations with their abusers. He had no idea this organization even exists. For a guy who claims to be a predator hunter, he has no...
This guy actually doesn't know what he's doing.
idea about one of the biggest organizations that helps protect people against predators. Really? Not a single clue? Even freaking Mama Max was actually volunteering at organizations that help to protect survivors. Are you...
That is not what was going on. That was not what Mama Max was doing, by the way. He was like being like an accountability buddy, okay, for people that were like going through like the legal system, from what I remember, or something else. But it's something like that. But that was not what he was doing. He was not being like a support social worker for people that were in it, that were in abusive situations like that. Okay.
Kidding me? Like, Mama Max had a lot of problems, but at the very least, he knew about real organizations that actually help.
Well, he didn't do any of the... He didn't follow through on it. That's why he got so much shit. The reason Mama Max got so much shit is because he never reported any of that shit to the police or the appropriate authorities, okay? What ended up happening is that nothing got done, okay? And then he went to go work in social work in a field unrelated to the predator catching stuff, okay? And then that was ended after people called them and said, hey, your volunteer, he was an employee, a volunteer, okay, is actually doing this crazy shit online. And then he was like, oh, Mama Max didn't know about those organizations at all. That was part of the problem. That live stream where Xylee is putting the screws to him is that conversation happens in that video. Okay, that stream has that conversation in it where Mama Max doesn't know about the organizations.
Also knew that you're supposed to contact the FBI, but Lio Convoy couldn't even do either of those things correctly. But the most terrifying part of this call was when Lio Convoy was put on blast for... Just listen to the audio, man.
Or her other option is, of course, to set up that camera tonight and see what happens.
Yeah, that's one thing I think.
It is so funny to get overlap like this. This is so funny. I do take a lot of comedy in this, for sure.
What happen either way is get that camera rolling just in case. Because the moment that's caught on footage, those are pretty cheap, aren't they?
Why are you talking about it like setting up like a nature preserve trail camera? Come on! Come on!
Just for context, in that call, he's talking about a young girl who's trapped in her home, and she is afraid of her abuser, her mother's boyfriend, coming in. And obviously, this is a very terrifying situation. How does Lio respond? He proposes the idea that she film herself that night in case the abuser does something, so that she has proof. I'm not going to spell out what Lio Convoy is telling this underage minor to produce.
It's a video about predators, okay? You can say CSIM, you can say CP, you can say it, okay? You put the word predator in the title, all right? Why are we doing influencer speak in the video that's serious about fucking predator hunters, okay? It was, you wanted, he was saying, hey, minor, I want you to film a rape. Say that, you motherfucker. Stop using influencer speak. Fucking stop.
But it's bad. It's very, very bad. And when the lawyer calls him out, you'd think that he would say that, you know, he made a mistake here. This was clearly just an idea he was spitballing with the boys. And yes, it is a blatantly stupid thing to say. I can't even believe that thought went through the head of an adult, grown man. But it was just an idea, right? No. He defends it. He defends it with his whole freaking chest.
I'm so sorry. Guys, they were 16 at the time. You're basically advising somebody to produce... Yeah!
No, that is not the case.
Yes, that is what that is. It is.
No, that's not what that is, and you're an idiot if you think so.
He can just move on and pretend like it's A-okay, all good. Disgusting. This is not a man who cares about helping kids. And if he does care about helping kids, then he's a man who doesn't care enough to learn.
What is the, why are you waxing philosophical about this, okay? Like you're any better than the rest of us vultures.
How to actually do it if this is the advice that he is giving victims. Like Mama Max before him, Lio Convoy would come back with an extremely long apology video. Like seriously, can these guys like just cut it down to like 5 minutes? But
oh, fuck you. Fuck you. This is better. It's not coming from the guy who spends 50 minutes on this video, but still doesn't get through all the information.
Look, this video is a nothing burger. A lot of it is him just trying to build excuses for his actions. I mean, he apologized for some of it. That Rosa call, you know, the one where he bullied a mentally ill woman. You know, that call he does apologize for, but at the same time, he creates a bunch of excuses as to why it was justified. Like, seriously, you can't say sorry and then go but immediately after that. Come on, man. Everyone knows that. Oh, also, hey, remember how I said that adopting victims into your house is...
Well, I thought you would have, like, shown some of that video to show the clip of him making excuses. That would have been a good piece to add to this.
Bad idea and might present some vulnerabilities. Well, guess what? Who could have guessed it happens again? Because Lio Convoy would also call out Hopeless Peaches, that same person he adopted into his house, the same person who was supporting him in his endeavors. He would call out them for their own manipulative behavior. Hopeless Peaches would fall into a bunch of controversy on their own time. I don't really have time to cover all of it, but they were engaging in some creepy stuff on their own. And yeah, Hopeless Peaches sucks. I agree with that. But does that mean that Lio Convoy is completely absolved of all of his own crap? Absolutely not. It's the same thing with Mama Max. What about all these other guys who are doing bad stuff? Dude, we're not here about them. We're here about you.
You're gonna get fucking bodied. I'm being pretty light about it, right? Like, I could honestly, like, spend countless hours just dogging on this kid. I'm not gonna do that, but somebody definitely could. And I'm telling you guys, it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good.
He claims to have grown, to have learned. His community flooded into my community post to talk about how I don't do my research, how Lio Convoy is...
You don't do your research? Oh, God, no. He's gonna double down. Oh, boy, he's gonna do a bad, isn't he? You're about to say something crazy stupid.
He's a better person now, but dude, he's still making these kind of videos. He might not be using the Senate anymore, but he's still bullying kids in Discord. Like, here's a clip of him fantasizing about a kid who was trolling in his Discord getting shot by the SWAT team.
Questions about, at this point, I just hope somebody doxes you, swats you, and then you get shot.
That's crazy that he said that, though. That's crazy. This will be a true test of character, but for Lio, he just needs to ignore this lazy slop video. Dude, this guy being like, I do my research is a fucking crock of shit. All right, this guy saying that is ridiculous. All right, if Krista Nark, who's like a lore expert, is like it's bad, it's bad. But when a guy's like, I do my research, I am not crashing out. It is.
What? Shoot me?
Yes, that would be preferable to whatever you're doing here.
I think it would be pretty hilarious. What did I do that ruins that Lio Convoy?
The way you were acting, the fact that you were avoiding questions, and I have
He's
some
still
weird
doing this.
skepticism
Shows
about whether
old
your actions
video.
communication with minors based on how
I
you
know
respond.
Lewis McClung said the same thing. The only difference is that people picked up on Lewis McClung's bullshit because the story was bigger when he did it. This guy's video is going to go under the radar, and he'll continue making these mistakes unless he gets completely bodied by somebody else. This is not me encouraging anybody to go body this guy, but he's going to do this again when he gets bigger. 100%. This kid's going to make another video that's poorly done and misrepresenting tons of facts, and he is going to do it to somebody, and it's going to blow up. And then when he does that, he's going to get a lot of shit from commentary. He's going to crash out. 100%.
Here.
Yeah, that's the sound of a man who's grown and changed. He's so much better now. God, guys, come on. Look, I'm not saying that people like Mama Max, like Lio Convoy, that they can't grow up, that they can't get better. But when you're covering
To be honest, on the internet, every time people are like, oh, they can grow and change, they'll get better with time, blah, blah, blah. Everybody says that they can change, but then never give them the space to do it. It's like insane.
Like, as serious as this, you don't get to keep on screwing up. Lio Convoy is surrounding himself with all these figurines of his favorite anime heroes, and he's built this whole persona in an effort to be one. But the truth is...
Oh, Emrau, did you hear the U.S. says there's no Epstein files? Why are you adding Emrau and saying that?
He's not a hero, he's not a warrior, this isn't an anime, this is real life. Lio Convoy is just a painfully under-average, half-baked man who desperately wants to be more than he is, but doesn't realize that his own stupidity has stopped him.
He brought up
from
the
ever
Epstein files. Oh, okay.
Look, this video is not really about these two guys. I mean, it is. They are representative of something, though, and that is hero culture. It's something that is becoming
Hero culture.
a real problem, a view of justice that brings up the dude who's saving everybody and minimizes the role of victims. Look, Mama Max, Lio Convoy, they think about the victims, they bring it up in their videos, but think for a second about the way they actually treat victims. I mean, they were freaking adopting these people, not literally in the sense that they were going to a courtroom and getting papers filed, but they were bringing them into their own homes, which seemed like such an obvious thing to both of them. I mean, neither of them questioned that this could be a problem when it is bad practice in any serious organization that prevents these kind of crimes for damn good reason. Like I said before, it creates insane vulnerability, but they needed their narrative. The guy who swooped in and gave these poor victims a place to stay when they don't need...
Yeah, I know some of you are like chomping at the bit for this guy to step on a rake. This isn't going to be the time that he steps on the rake. This isn't it. It'll come eventually, but it's not going to be this one.
Be personally responsible for it. In that call with Lio Convoy and the lawyer, he was talking over and over again how he had to do something. He needed to be involved when the lawyer was trying to tell him, like, look, this isn't about you.
Either I let them get assaulted in this possible case, or we have something we can at least pass to the authorities that'll make them actually do something over it.
So you're not letting anything happen because you're still just an internet stranger. You have no authority or ability to do anything other than maybe giving like a sympathetic ear. You're not letting anything happen.
Lio sucks. We got to do something about him. Finally, a good take from Emrau. You can lead that charge though, not me.
It's not about you. It's about them. These guys are internet strangers.
This guy waxing philosophical about the victims when one of Lio's presumed victims is in my chat being like, I don't feel like I was bullied. When is the Cabal going to take action about Lio? Something needs to be done. Sorry, I got a call from Mr. Lips up high that I can't do that, so. Oh, we need to keep him around. We need guys to take the fall in the future. Yeah, Thanksgiving sacrifice is coming around. You know how it is.
Trying to be heroes when that's not what the world needs. I mean, think about what these guys are trying to accomplish. I mean, even what's more official figures who are actually going around practicing vigilante law enforcement are trying to accomplish. The problem with all of this crap, all of this...
I thought Keem was in charge. Well, Keemstar is also in charge. Keemstar's bankrolling it. He's like the World Economic Forum, but for drama YouTubers. And then the Godfather is Nicholas Diorio. Okay? And then it all goes down. And in a series of who's in charge of who, okay?
Online and in the real world, is that it ignores the fact that the victims have already been through horrible things. I mean, all this justice happens retroactively. By the
not to be that guy, but you are making a drama video on something that happened to real victims. So, like, how good of a thing are you doing? Are you the DEI hire? Yeah, we have a surprisingly large amount of Latinos in the Cabal.
Time this all goes down, these kids are already horribly traumatized. And obviously, if you save them from that situation, you have done a moral good. But the lack of curiosity about why these situations happen in the first place, it's staggering to me. We're not working to create a better world by just busting down doors and grabbing the bad guys. We don't question how we as a society could do better to prevent crimes like this before they even happen.
Wait a second, what?
We act like it's just a natural part of our world that we can't do anything about. And if you know anything about these...
Why to stop the crimes before they happen? Like, you need to expound upon that at all. Because it just kind of sounds like you advocated for like a surveillance state and then moved on. Why'd you say that? That was weird. What do you mean by that? Please expound upon these preemptive stopping of crimes.
Horrible crimes, about trafficking, about predators, you know that that's not true. You know that prevention is possible. Stuff like educating impoverished people, making sure that they have resources.
Educating impoverished people. Are you saying that impoverished people are more likely to be predators? What do you mean by that?
That they need in order to be more literate around people who might be trying to exploit their kids, making sure that they have a safe...
Oh, yeah, those poor people sure aren't literate about pedophiles. Yeah, those dumb poor people don't know what a predator is.
Place to stay if they're living with someone who is abusive, making sure that kids have the resources that they need to stay safe online. These are basic elements of prevention, but they're not heroic, are they? They're boring.
He's right, actually. He's right. You know, Emrao, there's a lot of one guys, but you're being the one guy right now.
They're not ready for a film shoot. They're not ready for a YouTube video. I can't make content out of it. But that's the point, isn't it? This is serious. It's not content for these slop tubers, but that's...
What are you doing? What are you talking about? Dude in a glass house right now. Oh my god.
Point, isn't it? This is serious. It's not content for these slop tubers, but that's what they tried to make it into, and that's why I'm glad to see their channels die. That's why I hope this entire genre...
Oh my god, no fucking way. Oh my god. Okay.
It's not just them. It's the narrative that they perpetrate. I know what I'm proposing is scary, by the way. I know it's...
Dude, I can't believe he's like, I'm glad Slop Drama Tube is dying. Do you wanna play this game? Because you're not gonna like it.
Seems impossible to change society and make the world a better place. It sounds big, but that's because one hero isn't supposed to do it. It's supposed to be all of us together.
I'm sorry, the whole like music in the background and him being like, we can make a difference shit is this is sending me. This is really funny.
Learning and educating each other on how to make our world better. Advocating for...
This is actually the corniest shit ever.
Real change. I know it seems impossible, but I would argue it's a hell of a lot more possible than thinking that we're all going to be saved by a YouTuber with a cringy modulated voice and a furry who's surrounded by Gundam toys.
Listen, they don't represent drama slop tube. It's actually a bunch of incel 20-something-year-old guys who desperately need to touch grass. I'm not pointing fingers at Emrao, but...
Yeah. These heroes aren't gonna help us, guys. All right. Again, got a little less fun there, but I hope you had something to take away. If you did, and you watched the whole thing, please do leave the comment real change to let me know you were loyal to the tavern and watched the whole video. But hey, if you guys enjoyed it so much, you might as well watch another one. Here is an episode where we covered another abuser, Andy Blake. Yeah, he has...
Oh my god. Oh my god. I need to watch another one.
Hey, when you're...
Oh boy, I don't know anything about. Is there one that I know about? Diesel, let me call it. This guy is right. Lio sucks. We need to do something about this guy. I'm not letting you call it. Watch the Pro Jared one? Sure. What the fuck? the Pro Jared one even up? I don't think it is. I'm sorry, Emro. I can't. You just passed it? It's getting late, though. That's the problem. Okay, you know what? I'll go peruse some of this, okay? On my own time. We might come back and do this one again, because this wasn't the topic of tonight's stream. And I need to go to bed, because I need to get up early tomorrow. But I am interested in this kid. Okay. I also need to piss again, so that's also why. You gotta get your money up, not your funny up. All right, now you guys are just dogging on him. God. All right, I am going to bed. But take care, chat. Yeah. I will piss first, before going to bed. Let's see. I guess I'm sending you to Beckett.